Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4 o'clock. Welcome to the Town of Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission holding a meeting being held virtually on Wednesday, January 21st,
Recording in progress.
2026. Our first order of business is to welcome Brooks Harris as an alternate member of the commission. He was appointed last night by the RTM. He probably didn't know what he was getting into, and I expect all the applicants to not let him find out on the first night. So welcome, Brooks, and just let us know how we can be helpful. The second thing is to let you all know that we've had 3 items withdrawn. And again, for those of you who wondered, it's withdrawn and not postponed. They are removed. It's not just kicked down the road. If the applicant wants to come back, they can, but it's a brand new application. Those are Carolyn and David Hahn for the subdivision at 84 Cognywog. We are still going to hear the rezone application, or as we call it, a zoning map amendment. The next one is Start Capital LLC.
To postpone, that's a postpone.
Oh, that's a postponed. Okay.
Yep.
I think it was up as a with, but okie doke. So
No, it's up as postponed.
okie dokie. So
They gotta go
Start
to
Capital
ZBA. Mhm.
LLC. Oh, good. You cleared up that question. Start Capital LLC at 9 Meadow Place in the R12, and this was to remove an existing dwelling and construct a new one. So that has been postponed. My apologies. And then finally, again, a withdrawal. Newfield Properties 3 LLC for a final site plan at 241 Hamilton Avenue. And that was to create an 830G type development out of 3 units that currently exist, and they will designate one as affordable at that property. So with that, we will begin right away with the public hearing. Do we have, yes? No, we need Mr. Basili. Will you kindly raise your hand, Mr. Basili?
He should be here. I told him he was the first thing.
Okay, I got him. Don't worry, we got him.
I'm not worried. I'm assuming he is there.
He is here.
I promised him an early evening.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Tom, she didn't mean it. She did not mean that. No, she was trying to jinx us, and we're not going to let her do that. It's going to be a very late night.
Well, I don't mind if she jinxes.
I said
you,
just him.
as long as she doesn't jinx me.
Tom, while you're listening, I know you were listening anyway. That's Brooks Harris. You can see him. He's a new commissioner. If he says something and you have any trouble, I don't think you'll have trouble hearing him.
Okay.
But Mr. Basili is our court reporter, Brooks, and he has to record. He takes a transcript of our public hearings, not the regular meeting, just the public hearing. Okay.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Oh, bye. All right. So our first application, and this is going to be SE minor, is can you Tracy, you're co-host, right? I got it.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I got it. I think I got them in. I was having trouble getting them in. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Okay. So our first application is Carolyn and David Hahn for a zoning map amendment to rezone a portion of the property at 84 Cognywog Road from the RA2 to the R12. And with that, and this is a non-conforming property at present that straddles both zones. And with that, kindly go ahead, Ms. Orsi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon. Rachel Orsi on behalf of the applicant for 84 Cognywog Road. Here with me tonight is Christina Warner, our senior planner from SE Minor. And I would also like to say welcome to Commissioner Harris. I want to say thank you for your time. We listened into yesterday's briefing and found the discussion very productive and helpful. And we're here tonight to hopefully address some of the open issues and comments that were made from the briefing yesterday. Many of the commissioners had asked in regard to all the different documents that we had submitted recently, in regard to there was some permits from 2018, a zoning permit, a building permit in regard to the sewer district, and then also the Proval documents. What were these documents useful for? The answer is that these documents all speak to the character of the property and how it relates to its R12 neighborhood. These documents show the zoning permit from 2018, the zoning enforcement officer, the zoning inspector who looked at this property sees it as R12. The sewer district, when they were expanding the sewer in that area, they saw this property as an R12. Any neighbors who look around this property.
I'm sorry, did you have evidence that they saw the property as R12, or are you concluding that?
I think the conclusion, the fact that the sewer was extended and included, and that's typical in more dense districts.
You are ascribing a conclusion to DPW that you don't have a record of, right? I mean, you're assuming that was why they did it, but you've never seen anything that says they believe the property to be R12.
Well, I can share an image on the overlay I think Bianca had shared yesterday, showing that the sewer district in that area aligns very closely to the zoning district.
Right.
But seeing it more metaphorically that this property, the character of this property closer fits to that of R12 versus the other split half, which is RA2.
And to which somebody answered that the reason that they had been included was because of the straight line, because of running the sewer line, it was automatically there. So it isn't that I just want to clarify that DPW made no call as to how this was zoned at the time that we know of.
Correct. So the zoning of the property would fall to Planning and Zoning Commission.
No, and that they don't, but in
There
any
was no
event,
formal opinion
Right. I just,
offered, right?
yeah.
No, I
exactly.
think what we're kind
Just
of
wanted to make
trying to
that
get
clear.
at is there were a lot of discussion yesterday. Was it an error that it was assumed it was, an R12 on the survey? Was it an error that the setbacks in R2? And when we went out there and we looked at it, we said, I can understand why people inferred that this was R12. It looks like R12. It feels like R12. It
I see.
seemed to make more sense when you stood there.
Well, but I thought the answer we finally got in the briefing yesterday was that they run the sewer line, and this property was in the middle of them running it from a group of R12 properties to another group, and that automatically, I thought that was didn't somebody say that yesterday, Tracy, Bianca? That it was because of the way you run the sewer line that it got connected? Okay.
No, I don't believe
don't
I said it like
recall.
that. No.
Yeah, I don't think we have any evidence of that
Yeah,
either.
so- Okay, so in your minds, this has R12 characteristics.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it and smells like it and walks like it is our answer to how people, I don't think people made a ton of mistakes. I think they went out there on a split zoning and it looked more like R12, their R12 neighbors than their R2 neighbors. I think it speaks for itself. The other, and it's very nice to meet all of you. I'm sorry to have jumped right in. The other
And would
two
you
questions-
please, if you wouldn't mind, because the court reporter knows Ms. Orsi, would you please give us your name?
My name is Christina Warner, and I am the new senior planner for SE Minor.
Okay, so I just, when people speak and he's not familiar with them, he needs to have their names. Okay, go ahead.
So there were two other questions that you kind of bandied about yesterday that I thought were important and deserved a thoughtful response to. One of the things that you said that I thought a lot about was, it's R2 if you move the line up, it's R12 if you move the line down. And so the question was, even if you were going to rezone it, which way should you go? And what I wanted you to know was that within the R2 portion, you're not really compliant in that you have 1.99 acres overall, but 1.375 of it is in the 2-acre zoning. And it was originally 1-acre zoning, and then the town upzoned to 2, and it became a non-conforming lot from that perspective. 32% of it, or 2/3 of an acre, is in R12. after the addition of the garage, which is wholly and fully in the R2, it now was a non-conforming lot with a non-conforming structure. If you made the decision to move the line and make the entire parcel R2, it would cure none of that. But if you made the decision to move the line the other way and have it become R12, then you would cure not only the non-conforming lot, but the non-conforming structure, because the setbacks were approved to conform to R12. So it would become a conforming structure on a conforming lot. The second question that you talked about that I thought was also really important was what is good planning here, and whether it conforms to the objectives of the town's master plan with regard to housing objectives. The short answer is yes. Greenwich needs all types of housing, from workforce to affordable to single family units for young families. That's, there's a lot of people trying to get into the market in that particular range. So I would argue Greenwich does need more houses in that range. But also, if your plan over the long haul is to create more housing and more opportunity for housing, this gives you the possibility in the future, subject to a completely separate application that you might review for subdivision, to create additional housing, whereas leaving it as split zoning closes that door forever, and there can never be any additional housing there at any level in the future. So I think it creates new options for the future.
Not really following how it creates new options for the future.
If it's R12, then it is theoretically
Subdividable. Yes, we're aware of that. Yeah.
So
Okay.
going to R12 as versus R2,
Yeah,
theoretically creates opportunity for the
Yeah.
future.
I see. Madam Jenkins, did you have a question for the applicants?
Yes, I did actually. As I understand it, you're requesting this be R12, but you're presenting RA2 as a possibility. I mean, I think what
We
had
touched on
before
it.
was- We
It
did.
was
touch
because
on-
I touched on it at the briefing. I was like, well, you could kind of go the other way. So I think
did-
that's,
I was
think that
addressing your comments.
yeah.
I appreciate that. I just wanted to understand, because in fact, as I understand it, what we have before us is make it R12 or don't make it R12.
Yes.
I agree.
That's the
Yes.
question before us.
My point was, well, if you wanted to do really clean zoning, you'd make the line
You'd
all
make it.
squiggly the whole way down, and you'd put everybody fully into their zones.
Okay.
And you,
Thank you, Ms. Warner, for raising that issue. I appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure I understood what we had in front of. Thank you.
Madam Jones.
Okay, so thank you. My question has to do with the sewer connection. So does the sewer line run under Cognywog Road?
That is correct. It runs
Do you-
up Cognywall up until 84.
That's what that was.
Okay.
You're the one who made the point yesterday.
Oh, right. So my
Exactly.
comment yesterday was that
It was you.
the road frontage on this parcel is primarily in the R12, and that could be why it was included in the sewer when the other neighbors that are in the RA2 on Cognywog aren't, that are, even if they're sort of parallel or sort of on the same line with them, but their road frontage is not in the RA12. Their road frontage is on RA2. by
But
and
more
large,
the
as you-
their connection then, but then that, I thought what you meant yesterday was they're
Mm-hmm.
running a line down Cognywog. It makes sense that the houses fronting there are going to
Right.
get connected. You're not going to skip one house.
And I think that also completely agree, and that I think speaks to the fact that I think the character of this property is that it's been treated like other R12 properties in this neighborhood.
Only, and again, you're jumping to that because of the fact that it has sewer service, and I'm just, as long, we don't have anything to do to document that. All you have is a speculation that because it fronts on Cognywog and was included, that does not mean it was being treated
Right.
necessarily as R12 by DPW. And actually, Ms. Jones and I discussed that yesterday. Mr. Lowe?
Yeah, but I mean, I think we touched on this yesterday also. You know, has a sewer connection ever served as the appropriate criterion for the zoning distinction and a zoning change?
I think to return to Ms. Orsi's argument about the character, one of the things that perplexed
I'm
me
sorry,
when I-
Mr. Lowe asked a question. So if I'll answer it, not to my knowledge, Peter.
Yeah,
I don't recall it that a sewer connection. Now, the other way around, we have denied properties, obviously because of their inability. We've denied certain things because of their inability to get a sewer connection. But I've never heard of sewer being the basis for rezoning. No, in my time. And I mean, that doesn't mean it's only 20 years. So it could be, but not to my
and
knowledge.
one other minor thing, I just want to make sure I understood was, did one of you just say that 1.375 acres of the 1.998 is in the RA2? Is that correct?
I did say that.
Okay. And then did someone also say that 37% are in the R12?
Yes.
Well, though, I'm just doing those numbers. They don't add up. Just 1.375
No,
represents.
6.23 is in R12 and 1.375 is in R2.
All right, too.
I don't see how those numbers add up. I don't know what 6.23.
Well, they do.
Point, she means point
0.623, I believe, is what
means
Ms. Warner means.
2/3
Yes.
of an acre is in R12.
Yeah, but if 1.375 represents 68.8% of that property.
Right. That's right.
Is
That's
in the
correct.
RA2.
Right. So that, I thought you said 37 for the other, but 37 and 68 are
32.
more than 100.
32.
I think we might just be getting mixed up between
Okay, in any,
percentages.
yeah,
In any
Yeah.
case,
Brooks is good at
I want to make sure I have the proper numbers here.
The acreage numbers do add up. The 1.375 in the RA2 and the 0.623 in the R12.
Right, that was the percentages that were
Right, but the actual numbers that are
good.
on the
Thank
record
you.
add up. Yep.
Thank you, Tracy.
Madam Chair, if I can go back to the Commissioner Lowe's question in regard to sewer. I don't think we're representing that sewer connection therefore changes a property zone. I think what we're trying to say is that the property, when the sewer connection was included in Cogniwa and they saw this property in the neighborhood, although it was split zoned, it was granted the ability to connect to sewer similar to those on the lower side of Cogniwa, which are in R12. There are other nearby properties that are fully in RA2 that probably just could have, just as well been connected on that line. But that's where they stopped the sewer line. So they gave permission for 84 Cogniwa to connect to the sewer. Again, similar to those across the street in R12 or down below it in R12. This, absolutely does not guarantee rezoning, but I think the idea that it speaks to this property is seen as being closer related to in terms of density, in terms of the neighborhood to R12 than it does, it's not a backcountry lot on Round Hill or Lake Avenue like other RA2 properties. It's closer to those in its immediate neighborhood.
All right. Any other questions from the commission? Okay. If
No.
you will, Mr. Wells.
Yeah, unless, I don't want to interrupt it. Is the SC minor presentation, is that it?
If you have any other questions, I think those were the main points we were presenting today.
Okay, thank you. So I guess I have two comments and just referring to the POCD. Yeah, well, I agree that, Greenwich is short all housing, but the priority clearly in the POCD is more affordable housing, more workforce housing, and more housing for an aging population. And I would say, given the size of the land and construction costs, this will provide additional single family housing, but not address the two key priorities in the POCD. That's my first point. The second point, we've talked a lot about the character of the land. That also involves the topography. And one of the guiding principles in the POCD is sustain and improve our natural environment and landscape. And on almost the first page, it says, altering landscapes can obstruct the natural processes of wildlife habitat, stormwater flow, air movement through the landscape, soil and natural harmony found in smooth topographic transitions. This property is nothing but nothing smooth about it. I went out there like a lot of other people and looked up. A lot of the property just looks like it's on a cliff. And to want to develop it, we really have to think about the neighbors. And no one's mentioned that, but Fado Lane is a bowl, so the water has no place to go. There's already an issue there. And we can say, oh, well, we've got this great stormwater manual, and that works up to maybe 25-year storm. And then after that, the situation's worse. So in terms of, looks like, smells like R12, I would say looks like a topographic situation where you would not want to do additional development for the health and safety of the neighbors, or to be in compliance with our POCD environment.
May I address that?
Please.
That question would be before the board. Were we asking to subdivide the property? And if that day comes when this owner or a subsequent owner returned for that, the board would get a second bite at that apple, and they'd have all kinds of opportunity to have engineering for steep slopes and wetlands. And we all agree with you about preservation of wildlife. But whether or not a zoning is appropriate, to my knowledge, no one ever goes out and looks at the topography and says, well, you're not appropriate for this zoning due to these elements.
I believe that, yeah, but again, the rezone has to be consistent. Any rezone application has to be consistent with the POCD. So in that instance, Mr. Wells is absolutely not incorrect. We have to find consistency when we rezone with the POCD. And so that is what he's going back to. And I believe, I'm trying to get to my subdivision regs. I believe we have, we do, somewhere we have on the zoning map amendments, Tracy, I think it's in the regulations. I think we have language about, I'll need to check it, but I'll check it as we're talking.
Madam Chair, if I can,
yes,
sorry,
of course.
add on to what Ms. Warner was saying. I think, and also to address Commissioner Wells' concern in regard to the topography, as you're coming up that hill, that portion that does have more slopes on it, I would say is not unique to this property. There are neighboring properties that are also in R12 with slopes, especially as you come around the corner on Kagniwa. But I think more than that portion of the property with the slopes is already zoned R12. So with the proposed rezoning we have before you tonight, we're not adding more steep slopes to R12 that it would be unique. We're really rezoning the portion that has the residents already, the portion that is flatter, more, that is more residential in terms of the closer density. That portion would be rezoned to R12. Not the front portion, because it's already in the R12 zone.
Yeah, my only response to that is that portion that's zoned R12 is almost unbuildable unless you're going to do a massive amount of fill and put in some enormous platform. It's basically on a cliff, so you're not going to be building there. You're going to be building along the same line where the existing house is. That's the only place where it makes any sense. Otherwise, it just wouldn't work from an engineering point of view unless you're going to spend, tens of millions of dollars.
Mary?
Yeah, and just in furtherance of Mr. Wells' comments, I mean, if you're going to argue that this is a density benefit if it's an R12, because it could
Which
have
again, if I could just point out, Mary, that they're arguing on behalf of a subdivision when they're arguing on behalf of a density benefit. Since they're only asking that it to be rezoned as opposed to be subdivided, they can't really be making the density argument either, because
We're not
that's
making, not ostensibly making a density argument, although I can understand your position completely.
Thank
What
you.
we're saying is it leaves it open for the future.
But that's the
And-
same, yes, which is greater density, which means you're talking about being able to subdivide, which is what you told us we shouldn't bring up. Madam
We
Jenkins,
don't
please
have an
proceed.
application
I
before you.
apologize. Yes, I am aware that you don't have that application before us, but you referred to it.
I did.
Madam Jenkins.
Yeah, I found language in the subdivision regulations that talks about secure the preservation of natural features of the landscape.
Yes, and it's
Also-
also in the POCD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
go ahead, ma'am.
That's it.
That's it. Yes. So in the POCD guiding principle 4 is conservation of natural resources, the reduction of impacts to the environment, and the promotion of best practices for sustainability and resiliency. So what we're raising is this is a very steep lot, which could potentially be subject to further development with different zoning. And we must consider that relative to the POCD. That is our mandate, to consider the POCD. So it is a steep lot. It, as far as we know, it has drainage issues. We've heard about those. Anyway, so thanks for that, Mary. Sorry I interrupted you. Arno, make me write on the blackboard afterwards.
It was appropriate, Madam Chair. No.
Anybody else? Comments, questions?
No.
So, again, one of the things that got raised yesterday was this issue of what is appropriate planning, and what is consistent with how the town's been laid out. And was this laid out to be a large lot? Was this intended to be a large lot and to be left as such, be it 1 acre or 2 acres? And then again, because of the zoning map amendment potential, is this consistent with the POCD and its guidance? No other questions from the commission? Oh, let's turn to public comment then. All right. Anybody in the public wish to speak? Yes, Mr. Mark Gilder, followed by Mr. Finkbeiner. All right, Mr. Gilder, if you would, promoting you. Mr. Gilder, you declined. Does that mean you just want to speak and not, you don't want to be a panelist? Oh, you can go ahead and speak then. Go ahead.
Okay, good. I didn't know if I would get too
No,
official
some
if I
people,
became a
no,
panelist.
some people don't want to have their picture on the screen. It's fine.
It's fine.
Okay.
Either way, but I do appreciate all the comments tonight, and I do appreciate the review of this and allowing us to have a comment. I live on Fado Lane, 32 Fado Lane. I am directly downhill abutting the property owner, and I do ask that my comments be entered into the record. I'm speaking tonight only on the proposed zoning map amendment to rezone a portion of 84 Cognywog from RA2 to R12. The area proposed for rezoning is the steep RA2 hillside above Fado Lane, consistent with Mr. Wells' comments. It drains directly towards our homes and the roadway. Fado Lane has already experienced significant runoff and flooding during past heavy storms. I have lost trees, neighbors have lost cars. It is a bowl as described earlier. Increasing density on this slope will accelerate water flow and erosion. Given the topography and existing conditions, the risk of downstream flooding from any additional development is not speculative. It is foreseeable and predictable. This is precisely why the RA2 zoning exists here as a protective measure. With the subdivision request now withdrawn, there's no concrete development proposal before the commission, only a request to permanently change the zoning of environmentally constrained land. Approving that change in the absence of a complete, fully reviewed plan would remove an important safeguard without demonstrating that downstream impacts can be avoided. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the commission to deny the rezoning and retain the existing RA2 zoning, which reflects the physical realities of the site and protects neighboring properties. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Well done, Mr. Gilder. Thank you very much. Great, great brevity. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Michael Finkbeiner. I think he will probably accept the promotion, and I will bring you. All right, Mr. Finkbeiner, if you would unmute. And
Yes.
Tom Basile should, yeah, he can see your name. Okay, go ahead.
I'm inquiring about the rule regarding zone boundaries. That there used to be a regulation that the stricter of the two zones would control the lesser zone property along the boundary line of the zones. And I'm wondering if that rule is no longer in effect, or whether the principle here of having R12 against RA2 is a relevant issue. Regardless of how you move the line, it's still a zone boundary with a considerable jump in zones.
I'm gonna say to you that I have never heard of any such regulation. What I can tell you is that where we have a lot that straddles, we use combined zoning. We blend the zoning. So the percent of the lot that's RA2 gets RA2 FAR, the percent that's in R12. I don't recall anything about a lot that straddles using the zoning that is stricter of the two. Do you guys, Bianca, Tracy, have you ever seen that?
Yes,
Yes? Oh, good, Nick.
years ago, and I thought we got rid of it. It was a situation where if you had an abutting lot between two zones, I believe the larger lot, because they were abutting, needed to conform to, I believe it was the yards or something of the zone below. I'm looking for it now, but I thought we got rid of that.
I believe it's 6-125, and I recall it the other way around. But if it's repealed and there's no replacement, that's fine. I'm just asking to confirm.
Well, what these guys do have, but again, it's different, is because they are slightly non-conforming. They're, what is it, Nick? 87 square feet? Did you say yesterday?
Yeah, they're 87 square feet. Well, and the 6125 was deleted in June of 2016.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
All right, but the
Okay.
principle is still there, and I think it needs to be looked at for character of the neighborhood, particularly with regard to the topography, with which I'm quite familiar there. So I'll be quiet, and I'll just pass on my comment.
The other thing is they get to use 6-9 was what I started to say. They get to use the setbacks of the RA1 zone because they're slightly non-conforming. So they could build a structure that uses, we have not changed that regulation. But yes, Nick's right, 6-125 was deleted. And I'm not seeing on any of them around.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anybody else from the public wish to speak? Nope. All right. What do you guys want to do with this? Do you have questions that you still have of the applicant?
I'm ready to close.
You're ready to close. Okay, we don't have to close it until the 5th of March, but if you have no further questions, I think we've laid out the issues here, which is conformity with the comprehensive plan of development and the POCD. And although this is not a subdivision application, this does open the potential for further density, as Ms. Warner pointed out. Okay, so with that, is there any objection to closing this application at this time?
No.
Hearing no objection, this application is hereby closed, and we will go on to our next item. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
Bye-bye. All right. So now, as you know, the next one was withdrawn. That's number 2. And we go to Paradigm 4448 West Putnam Avenue to extend the approved period for an additional 5 years. This is to keep their current approvals for a final site plan and special permit. This was to put 14 residential units in what we all know as the old bowling alley.
Yep.
And with that, it's Mr. Haslam, right?
Do we still need Mr. Basili?
No, we do not. But I'm not gonna let you leave.
Goodbye.
No, you can't leave at 4:35. No way.
I told him he could leave early.
Well,
Tracy
I'm just gonna
always
ignore that.
tells the truth. Enjoy your kibbles and bits, and I'll go.
I think he remembered. He knew which one it was. All right. Bye-bye, Mr. Basili.
Bye bye. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mr. Haslam, paradigm 4448 for an extension of the approved work period. I need to work on my audio. I'm going to mute.
Yes, good evening, members of the commission. Yes, just a standard request under your regulations for an additional 5 years. Unfortunately, as Tracy pointed out, I think yesterday may have missed the commission's attention. We didn't fall under the COVID change. It's just a window there date-wise that unfortunately we're not included, which is really unfortunate. But in any event, and you asked, although I don't think it's pertinent, the reasons for our not commencing construction immediately. And I think from my client's perspective, it's just the uncertainty of the times and of cost of materials and availability and et cetera, that's made her give pause to whether she wants to proceed with this project, which is a shame because it's a great project. I think you agree with, but it's just the uncertainty of the times.
Thank you for that.
It's sparking here. So it is the costs and the uncertainty and the interest rates and everything that's going on in the economy. Mr. Yeski, did you have any questions? You're muted. Muted.
Dennis?
Okay, I got it. What exactly do you mean by uncertainty? Because we have a lot of development going on and people seem to be moving. What is there anything more to that?
Well, if you remember, Marcy Murphy is the principal of this LLC. She's not a big developer or a big entity or private equity or whatever. It's just, her interest in this building, and she would make the ultimate decision. And there's just, from her perspective, it's very difficult to figure out what it would cost for her to go forward materials wise. And again, the availability of those materials. And as you also mentioned, interest rates, et cetera. So she's just not feeling that confident to move forward at this point. She's different than a lot of the people that I represent that have the resources to come in and are bigger entities.
Okay, that's fair. No, I got it. I understand. It's her uncertainty. Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be honest, when she came before us, when we originally approved this, she said the same thing. That she had been considering doing this for a long time, and it's a big project and it's a tricky project, and she had been debating it. Okay. So does the commission have any further questions?
No.
Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this request to extend the approval period? Please raise your virtual hand. Nobody from the public. Does anybody object to closing this item at this time?
No.
Well, in that case, this item is hereby closed. Hearing no objection, and Mr. Secretary, we would be happy to entertain a motion.
Okay. Pull my notes up. Okay, what are we looking at here? Okay, this is Paradigm Realty. Okay, 4448 West Putnam Avenue, PLPZ 2021-048. Applicant seeking a 5-year extension of time under section 614.1E to complete construction of a 14-unit residential apartment within the existing main building on a 1.27 acre lot located in the CGBR and CGIO zones. Whereas the project was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission at the 6/22/21 public hearing. Therefore, a motion to approve the request for extension, noting the following: all conditions of the original 6/22/21 approval shall be continued, and the extension of time to start construction will expire on 6/30/31.
That's it.
That's it.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Mr. Yeski has seconded. Mr. Yeski, how do you vote?
Yay. Yes.
Mr. Lowe,
Yes.
Mr. McRae,
Aye.
and Mr. Wells.
Aye.
Albin is also an aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0, and we move on. Thank you very much, Mr. Haslund. I hope
Thank
we
you
didn't
all.
take up too much of your time.
No, thank you.
All righty. Our next application, I forgot who's representing 24.
So did I. Hold on.
I've got Miss Orlowski, but I know she's probably got somebody with her.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, you have someone representing you?
I'm not sure if they've joined or not. It would
Who is it?
Fred from Soundview or Graham Gajewski.
Oh, Graham Gajewski's here. I remember seeing his name. All right. And I know we had questions on the landscape. Okay. And Fred from Soundview, I'm not seeing. Okay. Mr. Gajewski's in. Okay, so our next application is Galina Zelfond Orlowski for a final coastal site plan to construct a new single-family dwelling and driveway with associated drainage on a 0.2190 acre parcel at 24 Riverside Lane in the R7, sorry, in coastal overlay zones. This one is must decide 212. All right, so you're going to be speaking on your own behalf?
If we can ask somebody else to
Or
join
Mr.
from your crew,
Gajewski?
yes,
Okay,
I
Mr.
can certainly
Gajewski.
try, but I'm not sure if
Mr.
I'll be able to
Gajewski,
answer.
if you will unmute. He doesn't seem to be unmuting. Mr. Gajewski, if you would unmute. And I'm not seeing the person called Fred.
I don't see
Oh, now he's gone. Okay.
I don't see Fred here from Soundview.
Okay, let me try
I don't
Mr.
want to
Gaj-
hold up the group, so I'm happy
No,
to
that's
speak
all
on
right.
our behalf if needed.
Well, let me see if I can shoot Fred an email here real quick too. Try to get him.
And in the meantime, yeah, because I think you can probably oh, we got the comments from Deep and they had no comment, which was a big issue for us. Mr. Gajewski, go ahead. You have your hand up and it looks like you've been able to unmute now.
Yeah, I was just gonna let you know I was having some problems unmuting, but I'm muted now. So
Okay.
I don't have anything formally to present, but I'm here to answer any questions if you guys have
Well,
them.
I'm just going to go through the list then. We had, first of all, we got the Deep comments. They had no comments. We can't act without them. You did send us a sewer acknowledgement. Second was, the other issue was whether or not your carport is compliant to be excluded from FAR. Nick, do you want to hit on that?
Yeah, I really, this is my concern on that, is that even though we have a revision with some kind of a lattice or something, it's still unsure if the FAR is working with being open. You're right up against the maximum. I would say that the zoning enforcement officer, what I would appreciate if he actually would opine on this and what you've provided. That's something we amongst ourselves as the commission can discuss, but I believe, you're really, really close. And I would say just one oops in a framing mistake or something, and then you're going to be over. So you should probably be really concerned and considered to make sure that you're under a lot, because if you're over, you're going to get stuck way at the end, ready for your CO. You do an as-built FAR plan and find out you're 2 square feet over. Now you're stuck going to ZBA for an appeal. So I would say and recommend that you actually check it up front now before you get into swinging hammers.
So what we could do is require that they meet, if we were to move this forward, we could require that they meet with the ZEO
Yes.
and review their plan
Right.
and revise it as to ensure, if necessary, that it does not
Mhm.
constitute FAR.
Right.
Okay.
Full detailed FAR plans, which I don't believe we have in our
Right.
sets.
Well,
Review with
then-
the CEO concerning actually the calculations, the plans themselves in paper format so they can scale them if need be. And
Okay.
a very specific detail of how much of the carport is open. Very clear. See, it's supposed that would have been a 2-car garage. And you know, you're bumping up your FAR really close. You're just a few square feet short.
You said, and I think yesterday I have written down here that you said within 3 square feet
Yeah.
of max FAR.
Yeah. And that could be,
so
that's easily could be a,
that's-
oops, it's framing. So
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
we will certainly work with the CEO on that. They did review a full set of plans on in terms of the FAR. And Jackie had mentioned that yesterday. In terms of the carport, we will definitely work with them if we need to remove that lattice or do any other
well, see, that's the thing is
alterations.
that you have to actually, the carport needs to be more than 50% open, not just the grid, the whole space itself. So
Yeah.
you basically have to establish that actually how much is open, how much is closed to make sure you're getting to that point. And then apply that to the, you know, to the FAR to make sure you're in the right place still.
Yeah, and you know, that gives you an opportunity to get rid of the kitchen and create a garage instead, Ms. Orlovsky, because it's gonna, think about it, the snow of 16 inches of snow on your board. No, it won't snow on your vehicle if you have a carport.
Unfortunately, I have 3 kids that all need bedrooms, so that.
Oh, and they need bedrooms.
Yeah, I
and
know.
they
We have
need to
put them
eat.
somewhere to sleep. Yeah, that's
And they
true.
need to eat.
That's valid.
Okay.
Valid.
All right. The thing is, the last thing is you have revised the planting plan. Conservation is happier with it. I believe you addressed their comments, but I think if we were to go forward with this, we would ask that you continue to work with Jackie, and she'll get the comments from conservation as appropriate to ensure that the planting plan meets all the coastal objectives that we have, both the landscape regulations as well as the coastal requirements.
Coastal requirements
Cam,
for
if
like the
there's any-
coastal buffer.
Yeah.
If she,
We have to,
coastal
you have to kind of
buffer, if she's not right on the water, she won't have
at
the-
all.
but
She's nowhere
I'm
near the
just-
water.
I'm just saying, whatever Jackie thinks is necessary to meet. But again, Deep didn't have any comments, so you should be in pretty good shape. And conservation liked Mr. Gajewski's most recent landscape plan. Okay, that's all I got in the notes. Does anybody have? Oh, and you're going to remove an accessory structure, correct?
Yes, the prior owners had an accessory shed that
Yep.
we will be removing as we move forward with the construction.
Okay, and you have a list of planting proposed. I'm just looking at it that, okay, anything else from the commission? Again, this is, you have an exemption, right? This was the drainage exemption, right?
Yes.
Okay, anything else from the commission on this? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? This is 24 Riverside Lane. 24 Riverside Lane. Anybody from the public? No. All right. Does anybody object to closing this application at this time?
No.
All righty. Hearing no objection, this application is hereby closed, and we would take a motion, Mr. Secretary.
24 Riverside Lane, final coastal site plan, PLPZ 2025-442. The applicant seeking to demolish an existing home and construct a new 3,297 square foot residence with a 1-car garage and attached single carport. Driveway landscape drainage design within a 9,169 square foot parcel in the R7 and COZ zones. Whereas the property is in the X flood zone. Commission finds that DEP, the applicant submitted a, excuse me. I've got
Yeah.
the wrong numbers here. Yeah.
DEP submitted.
Comments dated, I think it was 1/20/26. And
We got them
conservation,
last night or something, yeah.
yeah, I'll double check that.
Yes.
1/20/26, yeah. Conservation issue comments dated 11/15/26 indicating recommendations to the proposal. Zoning issue comments dated out 1/15/26 indicating no issues with the application. Stewart issue comments stated 01/14/25 requesting the applicant submit a signed letter acknowledging the receipt of P&Z comments. DPW engineering.
Memorandum.
Yes,
114.
the applicant has filed a
Exemption.
drainage exemption dated 11/5/25.
Mm.
EA and Wetlands issued a permit needs questionnaire dated 10/30/25 that indicated no action required. Therefore, a motion to approve the application for final coastal site plan with the following conditions. Prior to zoning permit, the applicant shall verify with planning and zoning staff and zoning enforcement officer that the proposed carport meets the building zone regulations for FAR. Prior to zoning permit, the applicant shall revise the landscape design to meet regulations, including coordination of the tree protection plan between the engineer's soil and erosion control plan and the planting plan.
And work with P&Z staff.
Okay. Per sewer division comment, the applicant has submitted a letter dated 1/20/26 acknowledging comments, and the applicant shall address any and all remaining staff or interdepartmental issues.
Arn, before I go for the second, or I guess we could get the second. Does anybody who wants to second?
Yeah, I'm happy to second.
Okay. And then do you want to include something like EMAC? The commission notes that EMAC encourages the applicant to wire for the future installation of rooftop solar panels. And do you want to say that?
Sure.
Okay.
It's just,
All right. It's just,
EMAC suggests we can't
It-
require,
it's
obviously.
just a suggestion
Yep.
if you want to think about it, Mr. Orlovsky.
It's
But-
actually in our plan. Mr. Gajewski has actually
cool.
guided us towards that as well. So thank
Oh,
you so
that's
much
really
for
cool.
reminding
'Cause
us.
we can't ask you to, we can't make you do it, but we have a group of people who is trying to move at Greenwich forward on energy conservation and efficiency. So when they make suggestions like that, we try to incorporate them. That's great. Okay. Mr. Wells has seconded and we've agreed to the amendment. So with that, Mr. Yeski,
Aye.
how do you vote?
Aye.
All righty, Mr. Lowe,
Aye.
Mr. McRae,
Aye.
Mr. Wells.
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0. Good luck with the project.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. And now we go to 33 Byram Shore Road, which we're probably beating all of our records at this point.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I'm sorry. What
Take
was
it
I
back.
thinking? Oh, so Brooks, just so you know, we use a very loose version of Robert's Rules of Order. So we have no requirement on our body to use Robert Rules of Order, and we kind of do a loose.
I thought that was renamed to Margarita's rules.
Yeah.
is.
That's what
It
I
is.
thought too.
And
That's
before
what
that, it
Brian
was
remembered, yeah.
Maitland's rules. So we do it mostly just for tidiness, which is the only reason they were written. Okay, 33 Byram Shore. Who is representing the applicant?
This should be Chip Haslam.
There he is. And you got him already in?
Tracy beat me on that.
Okay.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me either.
Nope. I'll bring him in.
Is he still there? He raised his hand. Oh, there he is.
Maybe it just went down.
Yeah. Okay. Now we got him. Okay. All right. So 33 Byram Shore Road Trust for a final coastal site plan to demolish the existing structure and construct a single family home, converting the existing garage to a gym across 2 properties totaling 31,798.8 square feet at 33 Byram Shore Road, and 0 Byram Dock Street in the R12 and coastal overlay zones. Mr. Haslam.
Good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Chip Haslam for the applicant. We were in front of you a couple of weeks ago, and if you remember at that time, you hadn't received the deep comments or EMAC, and you actually received them at the beginning of the meeting. So I think we've responded to all departmental concerns. We made a little bit of a change to the landscape plan based on the chair's comment about that area by the pool. So we expanded the coastal buffer slightly in a northeast direction, and that's was filed. Also, we provide you with a plan showing that the structural aspects of the pool are isolated from the main structure and house. I think that's really it. Otherwise, I think we respond to all departmental and deep concerns or issues satisfactorily.
Commission, any questions?
Oh, I do want to make one other comment if I can.
Yeah.
After we met with you last time, my team indicated to me that Mr. Macri was asking me questions about access on 0 Dock Street, and I may have misled him. I thought he was focusing on that when he asked questions about the access and how it would be accomplished. The main access to the property will be off of Byram Shore Road, vis-a-vis that or via the easement. So this is really a secondary access spot of 0 Dock. It's not the primary.
Oh, I feel
Were you misled?
feel so
Were
much
you
better.
misled?
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. This is so I'm not coming in the back door.
No,
Okay.
I
And
misunderstood you. What you're asking.
That's quite right.
Yeah.
Now, actually understanding what you're saying would be the front door. So actually the neighbors themselves do the same thing. Everybody comes off Byram Shore Road.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that kind of clears up a lot of mess. Okay, but that access to Byram Dock is still there.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And traditionally, 33 Byram Shore Road has accessed that lot from Byram Shore Road. So you're adding the property of 0 Dock to it, but maintaining the existing access.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Haslam, for clarifying that.
Pleasure.
Now we had some outstanding comments still. On your landscape plan, if you would be, if you would revive, you remove the rain garden, and
Yes.
in that area where you would put in the buffer.
Yes, that's already been shown on
Okay,
the
and the-
landscape plan. And we also swapped out
Not on the
plants.
version that we were looking at, or at least what I saw. Sorry, I missed it.
Was there one that came in the other day?
Yes.
Ah,
Yep. And the only real change that the earlier version of the landscape plan, we'd already swapped out, we've gotten rid of the rain garden, swapped
rid of
out
the
the
rain garden.
plants that conservation asked us to swap out. So that
Mhm.
was done. It was only, we heard you say something about the pool and couldn't the coastal buffer be a little extended, so we changed it for that reason.
right. What we were asking you was to extend the coastal buffer.
Yep.
On the pool, we, as you probably heard from the briefing yesterday, we're struggling a little bit with where deep is on this, and we're going to try to find out, because in the past, they didn't ask us to remove pools, and they just had the disconnect requirement, the structural disconnect. And now all of a sudden they're asking for pools to be removed regardless. And we just need to know what the guidance is to applicants before people have already designed. So we're trying to find out where they're headed. Because
I read that as saying that they recommended it, but not that they required it. But also, it may very well
they
be,
didn't
Madam Chair,
say
that
it before. They didn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
It may also be that change of personnel with Mr. Goucher no
Exactly.
longer reviewing it, so that may
Exactly.
explain it as well.
Yeah, that's our guess. But yes, they recommended, no, they weren't requiring you to remove the pool, but they've never recommended either. They've been fine as long as it was disconnected. And this is the first time they've been, well, we would prefer you to not have it.
Right.
So it's probably the staff change. Mary?
Yeah, Mr. Haslam, just a quick question. You said Byram Shore Road would be the primary access. Was that what Deep understood when it talked about the dry access for Deep purposes?
Well, either one is dry access.
Okay.
That's my understanding, so it's not really an issue, but yes.
That's a good answer. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else from the commission? And I'm just, okay, let's turn quickly to public comment and then we can see what else we learn from there. Laureen Taylor, I'm enabling you to speak. Ma'am, if you would go ahead, I see you've already unmuted.
Yes, good evening. It's Laureen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi.
Oh, thank you very much. I request 3 to 4 minutes of time to speak with the commission regarding this real estate development project that involves zoning changes occurring in an area bounded by the Barm Shoreline, Barm Dock Street, and Barm Shore Road. The historic cemetery is located at the intersection of Barm Shore Road and Barm Dock Street. It was established in the 1600s by my direct line ancestors to include Thomas Lyon Sr., the founder of the town of Barm. This entire area where the project is proposed to occur is of historic and cultural significance. The historic areas impact me and my family ancestry, and it applies to the heritage of Barm and the character of the neighborhood. I've submitted correspondence materials to the Planning and Zoning Commission for this project for a final coastal site plan. On January 6th, I addressed the Planning and Zoning Commission via Zoom about my concerns and questions related to this project that I had at that time. Since then, I have more concerns and questions that relate to roles, responsibilities, and suggestions on this project appropriately made through the Greenwich Conservation Commission Cemetery Committee. I use the acronym GCC for that committee. I tried to gain assistance from both the GCC and the Barm Neighborhood Association to discuss this project impacting Barm cultural resource areas within them. None of those resources have agreed to listen to my input, provide suggestions, and assist me to address my concerns with the PZC. This project was a GCC meeting agenda item, including at its last held meeting on January 8th. But I'm aware of no public access, transparent discussion occurring on this project. To date, Elizabeth Evans did not answer any of the questions I submitted about the project before and after the GCC meeting held January 8th. Ms. Evans suggested that I speak to Planning and Zoning regarding all questions for this project for the applicant 33 Barm Shore Road Trust. I'm almost done reading what I had prepared here, so I appreciate your patience. I wrote a 3-page letter dated January 20, 2026 last night that I addressed to Planning and Zoning Department Commission and Demetria Nelson. The subject was request for assistance in ADA accommodations the PZZ virtual meeting to be held via Zoom scheduled January 21st, 4 p.m. EST. I'm here in Arizona 2 hours earlier. Today, no one responded to what I wrote on page 2 on my request that the Planning and Zoning Commission review process occur on supplement 3 material, which was correspondence that I submitted to the PZZ. I requested a review process occur earlier today and that a resource connected to the Planning and Zoning, please call me and discuss the material with me prior to the meeting. I ask that my request be approved as part of accommodation given my status as a person with a qualified disability under Title II of the Americans with Disability Act of 1990. My disability relates to my experiencing deficits and difficulty with formal public speaking in large group settings, and in forms such as this one that I'm addressing the Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission. I close by stating that this lack of assistance is having a negative impact on my health. I feel that my connections to the Barm section of Greenwich, including my ancestry to the historic Lyon family cemetery located there on Barm Shore Road, where my direct Lyon line ancestors are interred, is not valued, appreciated, and welcomed by any resource connected to Greenwich and its Barm section. Finally, I believe that those resources who have not been assisting me or helpful to me don't want to take any action to analyze the wealthy real estate property owners, what they are doing to change historic real estate parcels located in Barm and throughout Greenwich for that matter. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I had to say.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Let's just go over the pieces. I did see your email today. I think we're not allowed to talk to you outside of a public meeting about an application, so we have to do it here. So in a public meeting, so just pretend nobody else is here. You asked whether the application was within 500 feet of a municipal boundary, and it is not. And whether or not we had noticed the cemetery group. We include conservation in our circulation, and then conservation does as they see fit. At the last meeting, and I think this is what you were looking for, so correct me if not, you wanted to make sure that everything that is deed restricted and protected in the past is not affected by this application. And then Mr. Haslam went on the record and said that nothing changes from the deeds or the protections that existed with this application. What else can we do to address the concern you're raising at this time?
Oh, thank you, Ms. Albin, for providing that summary. I did submit material, and bear with me, there's been multiple submissions, so
and I've read them all.
Okay, well, I appreciate
So
that, but as
you
far
know,
as the
sometimes I don't get it all, so just make sure that I've got the key things.
the ancient right-of-way that was recorded on the map for the estate of Daniel Lyon back from 1888. From what I recall in the material for this application, that particular map and the information compiled through the Historical Perspectives, Inc., Feline Schneiderman was the main researcher at that time, who I spoke with, and I provided information to her. She had included in her report, there were a few different versions, but maps of that area below. And I understand that just today that was supposed to be uploaded in the file for public view. And then there was some concern that I explained through email to Demetria Nelson and to Tracy Kulikowski about not having my certain letter that I had requested the ADA accommodation available for the public view, because there was, I feel comfortable explaining it as I did earlier, but that particular letter, I wanted it removed from the website.
Okay.
And I believe that has been done. The staff person that works on our website is he has gone home for the day, but I will double check tonight and he
Okay.
will double check tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
But yeah, I thought it was already been done because I grabbed him basically while I was in the car on the way home. So I think he took care of that. I will double check because he had a little kid he had to feed too. So
now Mr. Haslam then at the last meeting went on record and said that any right-of-ways that existed and were protected in deeds continue to be protected. What I was thinking this afternoon, seeing your emails, is we can note that as a finding in a decision as we go forward. We can say, and the commission hereby finds that all, pursuant to the law, that all and all such right-of-ways that have existed previously, Tracy's an attorney, she can help me say it right, will continue to exist as they have in the past, which I believe addresses your question, right?
Well, I appreciate that, but it also, I'm unclear reviewing different records if that particular map from the estate of Daniel Lyon from 1888, if the right-of-way has changed through the years since then, if it's no longer represented in that same manner. I do not know.
Yeah, and all we can do, because all our power is on the application before us, all we can do is make sure that whatever exists doesn't get messed with, if you will. So all we can do is say this application can't impact anything that's as it stands in the deeds right now. Now, if someone changed it 100 years ago, well, less, because, well, yeah, it could have been in the 1920s, right? For all we know. Then we can't change that because we don't have that authority, but we can protect whatever's in the books now or assure that it is protected as part of this application. That's
I
all.
appreciate that, but it's still unclear to me what exists in the books now.
Yeah,
for
but I
that.
have, yeah, so I can only say that part. That's the only part where our jurisdiction goes. But I think Mr. Haslam as an attorney knows what we're asking him to do, and he's looking, he'll look at that, and that's what he agreed to do at the last. Mr. Haslam, did you want to add something?
Well, I would think, Madam Chair, if I could, that if you're going to do a whereas clause here, you can state that the applicant represents that approval of this project will not change any rights of access with neighboring properties, including the cemetery. I just don't want to have it said
Yes.
that as
Any
a
rights of
condition,
access.
because we don't know what's
No.
going to happen down the road. And
It's a whereas, it's
Right.
a finding
Yeah.
where that will not change any rights of access. Go ahead, give me the rest of the wording.
currently existing and
Currently existing.
right.
You got that, Nick? We're gonna do this. Currently existing. And that's the full scope of our authority of what we can do.
Right.
It's not, we can't go back and tell you how it's changed and evolved. All we can do is say, we'll make sure that this application, it does not impact it.
Right. It should be specific to this application because I can't control neighbors
Right.
and whatever.
Well, and
right.
legally, we can't either. We can
Right.
only do this episode. We're both in the same bind. We have
Good.
no authority. So does that work for you, Ms. Taylor? Because that's
Yes.
okay.
Thank
Now,
you.
I
And
got
that
a
being said,
personal-
though, I
got a
feel
quick
that,
question for you.
sure.
I was hesitating. I spoke with Ms. Nelson, and she mentioned to me that she called me to say that you had asked for more time. I was hesitant. Do you mind if you ever come back to a P&Z meeting if I say Ms. Taylor is going to speak longer than the allotted time as she has requested due to I don't want to embarrass you in public.
Right. And it just varies on the subject being discussed and how
Okay.
much input I'd like to provide. And again, this was just very complicated because of all of the prior material, and what made it worse or less helpful was not having any response from the Greenwich Conservation Commission Cemetery Committee.
Yeah, and
Because
to be honest, I didn't even know they existed until I started reading all your emails. I mean, because I thought it was kind of cool that it exists, because I know I read somewhere else that there's a cemetery that has been paved, that was paved over 100 years ago, which is awful. And it's 100 years ago or something. And so I'm glad there's somebody out there, but it was the first time I knew. So Ms. Taylor, if you need more time, I just didn't want to say something that put you in a bad light.
sure, I appreciate that,
So
but it's
just
not
tell
always
us.
necessary. It's just
Okay, so you
given
tell
the
me.
situation.
Tell us anytime. Sometimes we have 150 people at the meeting who all want to speak.
Right.
Not tonight. So, we'll time limit everybody else. And if you need some extra time, you just tell me up front, I need extra time, and you got it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we've got that will not change any rights of access currently existing.
Well, I just want to make sure though that if somebody's looking at this decision down the road, that it's not a restriction on my client or any neighbors
No.
modifying agreements with the with
At this
even the cemetery.
time,
right?
that at this time, that does not at this time.
That this decision
yeah, it
does
could
not
be-
impact
yeah.
right any rights that exist. Blah blah blah.
Okay. All righty. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now it's just disabled talking. Okay. All right, so we've got that, and we know what we would say to that. We talked about the buffer. We talked about the pool. You'll wrap up with the landscaping. You're going to work with Bianca on making sure that the landscaping is everything that Bianca would like to see,
That's fine. Yes,
or you're going to beat him to a pulp?
I think we're pretty good, Bianca, aren't we? So
He's smiling. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they've been
Right.
very responsive.
All right. Any further questions from the commission? All right. Does anybody object to closing this application at this time?
No.
No.
Hearing no objection, this application is hereby closed. Just for the record, Madam Jenkins is seated for Mr. Yeski on this application. And we will now happily entertain a motion. So nobody wants that job, okay? That's Brooks, so you know. Actually, we do take turns sometimes doing the motions, but Nick got the heavy lifting tonight. Sometimes we all do them.
Yeah, I kind of stepped in it a couple of years ago by
Yeah, when they're
mistake.
6 pages long, I do them. And Mary and I do the really long ones where everybody falls asleep while we're reading them. Okay, Nick, go ahead.
33 Bayou Shore Road, final coastal site plan PLPZ 2025-424. Applicant seeking to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a single-family dwelling with attached garage, pool, patio, stormwater set works, landscaping improvements, and conversion of an existing detached garage into a gym on a combined 31,798 square foot property in the R7 and COZ zones per section 6-111 of the BZR and sections 22A 90, 22A 96 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Who are you?
Whereas the property is located within the AE 14 and AE 17 flood zones. Commission finds that deep issue comments on 1/6/26, indicating recommendations to the plan. Conservation issued comments dated 12/31/25, indicating recommendations to the proposal. Zoning issued comments on 1/15/26, indicating no issues with the application. Sewer division issued comments dated 12/3/25, requesting applicants submit a signed letter of acknowledgement of their P&C comments. DPW engineering issued comments dated 1/12/26, indicating approval of a rezoning permit. EMAC issued comments 11/26/25, indicating a favorable review. And Inland Wetlands issued a permit needs questionnaire dated 10/30/25, indicating no action required. The commission also finds that all existing legal and relevant rights of way or easements shall not be affected by this decision.
Perfect.
Therefore, a motion to approve the application for a final coastal site plan with the following conditions. The applicant should prepare a map of lot merger for recording with the town of Greenwich land records. Per DEP comments, it is recommended that the applicant consider a design that removes the pool from the VE zone to avoid removing soil and placing impervious structures within the zone. The applicant should be aware that the pool and patio remain in the VE zone. They must be structurally disconnected from the residence. If the residence is structurally connected to the features that extend into the VE zone, the entire residence will be required to comply with FEMA standards for that zone. The entire residence, which would include further elevating the residence and additional structural considerations. Per sewer division comment, the applicant has submitted a letter dated 12/8/25 acknowledging comments. And the applicant shall address any and all remaining staff or interdepartmental issues.
Should we? Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wells has seconded. Mr. Wells, you asked a question yesterday about the fill, about the numbers for the fill, and we didn't ask it. I think it's too late to ask. You wanted both. The fill is impacted by the pool, was it on this one?
I think the applicant already answered that.
Okay. All right.
That the fill was not structural, which was, my principal question. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Madam Kulikowski.
And I believe Mr. Wells's question that specific question was directed at 9 Meadow Place.
At 9, okay.
Which also had, the pool is not in the VE zone.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, with the
but
patio.
there
I
is
remember
grading.
they had the patio issue. Okay.
Yep.
All righty, got it. Okay, so we have a second by Mr. Wells. Ms. Jenkins, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
Mr. Wells?
Aye.
Albin is also an aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0, and we move on.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Our next application is Mr. Hegney, whom we haven't seen all night. He likes to be in the meeting before I read it. Mr. Hegney, if you would accept. All right, our next application is Norma K. Asnes at for confirmation that a 2.095 acre parcel at 132 Round Hill Road on an 8.7 and an 8.744 acre parcel located at 122 Round Hill Road, a 2.111 acre parcel located at 0 Pexland, a 2 acre parcel located at 0 Sheffield, and a 2.045 acre parcel located at 0 Sheffield, which is lot 2, all in the RA2 zone, are separate and distinct zoning lots. And this is a must decide tonight. Although we could get an extension if the commission wishes. At this point, it is a must decide. Good evening, Mr. Hegney.
Good evening,
And
Madam
seated,
Chair.
I'm sorry, and seated on this application again is Ms. Jenkins for Mr. Yeski. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Hegney. I'm sorry.
Good
and
evening,
you saw
everyone.
we have a new commissioner.
Yes.
Be nice.
Welcome, Mr. Harris. I don't expect all the meetings to be quite this quick.
We told him that for
but he
2
knows
meetings
that.
now.
This meeting
No,
isn't
he-
over.
Yeah, and no, he didn't really know, and we've told him that for 2 meetings, so he thinks we're lying to him. Okay, Mr.
He has a
Hegney.
pretty good idea what he's getting into.
Mhm.
Good evening. For the record, Tom Hegney on behalf of the applicant. This was before you at the earlier meeting this month, and there were a number of questions that came up. Provided a letter reviewing each of those issues along with exhibits of building permits that had been issued for some of the structures on the site, and cited the statute that provides for the existing buildings that are there for more than 3 years to being legally non-conforming. This was a 1969 subdivision. This was 7 lots of it that were reconfigured back in the 70s into 5 lots. The legally non-conforming structures are all the ones that we went over in the letter, except for a playhouse on the Pexland Road lot, which when I looked at the field card doesn't even show up as a structure, probably because it's only about 10 by 10. And what we suggested is we place a note on the map that says to be removed prior to the issuance of any building permit for the development of that lot. At the briefing yesterday, was asked that we provide the overlay map that I think was shared at the last meeting, but I did include that and forwarded that to staff in its slides 5 and 6 on the material that we submitted for the hearing this evening. As I say in my letter, this is not under our regulations a subdivision or a re-subdivision, and we ask that you confirm that. Thank you.
All right, Mr. McRae.
Actually, I think I just answered my own question. Of the presentation, page 5, I think was, I'm looking at it. Map 488, Mr. Hegney, in 1968 is what was approved. That's the blue on the left-hand side.
Yep.
And the
Correct.
properties ads sold in the 70s on the right-hand side.
Correct.
Which is, as I see it, a wholesale
Mhm.
change in what was approved.
Right.
Yeah,
You're going from 5 lots, 7 lots to 5.
5.
And that's the next slide shows the the overlay.
Right. And this is all done under what I guess you could say was the legal procedures at the time.
That's correct. It wasn't until the late 80s, after a couple of appeals, that the commission adopted the process that you currently use. But it wasn't until that time that that was required. Otherwise, it was done by deed.
And it wasn't the other point that we granted permits, that the town granted permits on the revised lot. So that was an implicit acknowledgement of the lot revisions, correct, Mr. Hegney, or am I wrong on that?
No, you're correct, Madam Chair, for lots, well, for 122 Round Hill Road and for the Pexlin Road lots. That in particular, there weren't any additions or changes to 132 Round Hill Road, and the other 2 lots are vacant.
All right, and then to repeat you again, the only non-conformity that isn't legal at this point is the Playhouse, to your point, and it wouldn't be alone in town, but that is the only one that is currently not a legal non-conformity. Wow, that was weird to say.
Yes, it needs to have a note to be removed.
Okay, so that would be,
Which is how normally that would be handled.
yeah, that's what we would do anyway. Okay.
Yep.
And then someone asked a question yesterday. Let me see if I've got this in my notes. The pump house, when it was converted, did it get a CO? So I don't remember who asked that question. Who remembers asking it?
I asked that question, Madam Chair.
Mary asked that question.
It
Yes.
did have a CO at that point.
Okay. I just wrote down the question and then I didn't remember the answer. Okay. All right. Okay. Nick?
Mr. Agnew, just a real quick question. From slide 5, property sold in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
Is what is the ask this evening on slide 4? That's an SE minor drawing. So the current or the 1970s version of the lot layout is what's represented on this current subdivision map?
That's correct. If you follow the course and distance descriptions in each of the deeds, they relate to what the lot configurations are on the screen is slide 4.
Okay, because even this, it seems to me, even this has changed. Well, maybe not. Yeah, even this may have changed a little bit, kind of flipping back and forth. On this particular map, there's a dotted line
Where are you seeing?
off Sheffield Lane between
Yep.
0 Sheffield
Mhm.
track 2 and 0 track 1.
Nice job.
Do you have any idea what that is?
That is the prior lot line between the 2 lots on Sheffield Way. And that really should be removed off this particular map.
Okay. Is there a topographic map of
Thank you.
the site of all the properties? I'm just asking.
I have not seen one, if there is.
Okay, and GIS, I'm looking at that right now. That's probably the closest thing. Okay, thank you.
Right, yeah, we did include the GIS map, the topographic map for the property.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Agnew.
Any
Thank
other
you,
questions
Mr.
from the
McRae.
commission? Ms. Jenkins?
Yes, Mr. Hegney, we're relying very heavily on the SE minor description of what happened in 1970. I would prefer that we actually state that we are relying upon the accuracy of that in reaching the decision. Are you comfortable with that?
Certainly, because what we have on the screen right now is based on those deeds that were recorded in the 70s.
Okay.
So that's how the course and distance descriptions enabled SE minor to prepare this map.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so okay, so you're gonna keep that in mind. Anybody else? Mr. Hegney, I'm gonna turn to public comment. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? One, please raise your virtual hand. 132 Round Hill, 0 Pexland, 122 Round Hill, and 2 on 0 Sheffield. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this application? I'm seeing no public comment. All righty. are there any further questions from the commission? All righty, does anybody object to closing this application at this time?
Madam Chair, I'm kind of struggling with subdivision, not subdivision at the moment. I'm trying to kind of work through kind of a murky area.
Okay, well,
If we close, I would defer decision.
no,
wanna
we
get-
can't do that on a regular, but we can, if Mr. Hegney, maybe what the way to do this is, Mr. Hegney could give us an extension, but perhaps you would explain your question to Mr. Hegney. And then he can give us an extension, because otherwise it's a must decide for tonight. Tracy, you want to add something to that?
I was only going to add that Mr. DeAndrea's hand is up.
Oh, I missed him. All righty. He didn't raise it quick enough.
This is a must decide tonight?
Must decide 12326, but there's an extension available to 324. If you explain your question to Mr. Hegney, if you want to consult with counsel, we would leave it open, because otherwise it's a regular meeting item. We would have to decide it tonight. Mr. DeAndrea, are you here as a member of the public, or are you just early for Hill House?
I just wanted to let you know I was here, Mike, because I thought you were winding down.
Okay, so you're going to
Sorry
leave
about
again,
that.
right? Yeah.
I will just listen quietly now.
Okay, bye. All right, so we're back to,
I think, Mr. Hegney, if you're available, it's that leap. I think actually it's the slide 5. It's the leap between 1968, 1970, 2026, and understanding I had an approved subdivision in 68. It's significantly, the geometry of everything is significantly changed in the 70s. And now I have something that's slightly different here in 2026. And my murkiness is to actually understand in terms of our subdivision regulations, which I probably should go back and apply my question to, is this a subdivision, re-subdivision, lot line revision, so on and so forth? For me, trying to classify what this would be or what the ask is.
So the sketches that are on slide 5 are sketches. The map that we are looking to have you determine is not a subdivision or re-subdivision is slide 4, which is the one with the signature block on it. And that the deeds that were recorded on each of these 5 lots in the 70s are the basis. The course and distance in those deeds is the basis for creating this map. So this is the configuration that those lots have been in since those deeds were recorded from 1973 to 1976. And we started with 7 lots, and we now have 5. There was no procedure such as we are going through right now in the 70s to change the lot configurations. All of these lots are conforming. They were conforming in the 70s, but they're also now conforming as to lot shape, frontage, and area. So you're not approving something that is that creates a nonconformity, because they're all conforming. I went through and described why the setbacks are legally nonconforming under the statute, except for the playhouse.
Okay.
now, in 1960, we changed the fees, and part of the fee was to cover the cost of the final record map of subdivisions. So in 1959, they were required. 60.
Right, and the record map is 1968.
Right. So the
Right.
record map was created. You then do not have to change the record map, is what you're saying.
Correct.
You did not have to change it. All you had to do was change the deeds. And that it, yeah, okay, Mary's got a question. Go ahead, Mary.
No, I think I'm
You have
approaching.
question face.
Good heavens, I have to take the mask off. Ask a different question for Mr. McRae.
Well, I'm trying to get to Mr. McRae's question. That's why I looked to you.
And I think I have the same question in a different way in my mind, which is, what is the relationship between the 1970 sketch, which does not have any stamp or I'm not questioning SE Minor's ability to do this, but I'm trying to determine the relationship between the 1970 sketch, which we, again, I said earlier, rely on, versus the survey. Is the survey consistent with the 1970 sketch? And if not, in what ways is it different and why?
The only map that is controlling is the proposed subdivision map. The sketch is merely just a way of not having all of that other information on it and making it simpler to look at, and how you went from the 7 lots to the 5 lots.
And I appreciate that. So I'll ask the question again. Is the survey stamp on it consistent with the sketch from 1970, which is based upon the deeds in 1970? And if not, in what way is it different? Because I have to rely on the thing. You're absolutely right. I have to rely on the thing that's got the stamp on it. So to the extent that the 1970 is different, I just need to know what that difference is and why there's a difference.
I have looked at them now, comparing them. I don't think there is a difference, except for the fact that you don't have the course and distances, and the rest of the features such as wetlands and the pond.
Well, let me
So
ask.
that means, if I understand your answer, the lot lines are consistent. There are other things that might not have been shown on the map.
Correct. The lot lines are consistent.
Okay, so one more time, I'm slow this tonight. The lot lines on the survey match the lot lines on the 1970 sketch.
Right. The sketch was done now, showing what the properties were like in the 70s.
Okay.
Right.
It's not a 1970s map.
So I understand that. So I'm sorry, Mr. Hagney. What we're seeing on the survey represents the same 5 lots on the sketch, which we can't rely on. In other words, there has not been any change on the lot lines since 1970.
Right, or since 1970 to 1976. So that's when the 5 deeds were recorded, creating the lots which are reflected on the proposed survey. Right.
Okay, so the survey is actually 1976 based on what existed in 76.
It was prepared recently, but yes, it is based on those deeds. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hagney, and thank you for your patience.
Well, try something out on Tracy. Or both of you, Mr. Hagney. If Mr. McRae is struggling with whether it's a sub or a resub and where it falls, you filed it as a final sub. All we would have to do to skirt that is make the motion on the final sub, recognizing the lot configuration you're proposing, you're showing us. That is the final sub, full stop. And that acknowledges the lots. Does that work, or am I wrong?
Unfortunately,
I'm happy to be wrong on this. I was just trying to find a solution.
My suggestion would be something that I suggested to a prior commission years ago, that there be actual regulation for lot line revisions and confirming lots rather than a subdivision, because when this process started in the 80s,
Yeah.
it was, I had to tell clients in the early 90s when I got off the commission.
Rewriting
that- wait, wait,
okay.
that
Rewriting
it-
the subdivision regulations
they
is
were
not on the
denying-
schedule tonight.
They were denying these applications. And I said, I had to go to my clients and say, congratulations, our application has been denied. And you're doing it differently now, but it's the same process
But
that
I'm not
occurred
going to rewrite
back then.
I'm not going to
But
rewrite the
no,
subdivision
we're
regulations.
we're looking for you to recognize what is in fact the case, that this is not a subdivision or re-subdivision.
But we could call it a final reset, a final sub, and just get you the same answer, which is yes. And then Nick doesn't have to decide if it's a sub or a he doesn't have to decide. We could just call it a final sub. I'm asking you legally, does that work?
On
your feet, folks.
I suppose it's just.
I'm just trying to come up with how to get to an answer that works for everybody.
I'm looking for a way of
confirming the lots
as it has been
Right. Yeah,
presented
they've
to
asked for a
confirm these
lot.
lots.
You're just confirming lots. We can say the commission finds that this is a final subdivision, and basically that eliminates any lack of clarity in the historic records.
I suppose it gets us to the same place.
Right? And then nobody's ever going to say, oh, well, they didn't find it a sub or a resub. Then they're going to go back through history. We go, oh, it's a final sub. It's over. It's done. Now you go and you file your map and you're done. You have an official set of lots, which is what you're looking for. Right? You could give us an extension and think about it, but if you think it works.
No, I don't, I don't want to have form over substance. The substance is to create a map that gets recorded, that people can go get building permits on the 3 vacant lots.
There you go. And there's murkiness. There was murkiness.
And if this gets us to that, which I believe it would, I don't want to stand on form that, there's no written rule to go one way or the other, because we don't have a process other than subdivision to either adjust lot lines or confirm lots. So,
and I mean, if you want to help me rewrite the subdivision regulations, I would be happy entertaining. Bianca, do you have a comment on this debate?
I have I guess a clarification question. Because of process with subdivisions, when you have vacant lots, they have to come through planning and zoning, and we have to review them administratively.
Correct.
Now, when we have an old subdivision, the lot has to meet the zoning regulations at the time of the subdivision. If we find that this is a subdivision, they need to meet current regulations. So
now there's a snag. Great point. So there's a snag because the regulations are definitely stricter.
Right.
Isn't it getting more muddy?
The reason they filed a subdivision application is because it is the only application.
Yeah, we know that.
you
We know
have.
that
Okay.
part. I
Yeah.
know that part. 20 years. I know that part. Okay.
30 actually, but who's counting?
No, 30 for you, 20 for me. Okay. 40 for you, actually, Mr. Hagney, closer. Yeah, I was going to say, don't take yours. I know. Okay.
Yes.
So that doesn't solve it because your client is here at the meeting and is not going to be happy with having to use new zone, or was earlier, is not going to be happy with having to comply with new zoning regulations when they could use old ones, because they're definitely stricter. So in that case, we've got to get Nick to decide if he's comfortable with neither a sub nor a resub.
Yeah, I think we're kind of going in that direction. I think it's kind of jumping over time, but I think actually where we're landing is actually on the map actually as presented to us this evening. And that actually, getting back to what Mr. Hegarty just actually talked about, it. This is a confirmation of an existing configuration. So I think I kind of explained a lot, and I think we probably could move on with this.
Okay. All right. Does anybody object to closing this application on this at this time, which means we would vote on it? Hearing no objection, this application is hereby closed, and we would take a motion, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, let's figure this one out. This is 122, 132 Round Road, final subdivision, PLPZ 2025-441. Applicant seeking a lot line confirmation on a 5-lot property in the RA2 zone. The commission finds that the proposed application is neither a subdivision or re-subdivision. Therefore, motion to approve with the following comments. The applicant shall prepare a map for recording on the Town of Greenwich land records. The map shall note that the P&Z staff notes in the staff report shall be included. This is actually point number 7 of the staff notes. Applicant shall return to the Planning and Zoning Commission for site review prior to development or redevelopment of any lot. And it shall reference any recorded easements or agreements associated with the lots. And the applicant is to address any or outstanding or staff or interdepartmental issues. You're muted.
All right, sorry, he's barking. The map is to reflect the removal of the playhouse. Sorry. Mary.
No, that was my point, Madam Chair.
Okie dokie. So,
Playhouse.
Playhouse, the removal of the playhouse and a map to be filed. We would not normally require these applications to come back to the
I added
commission.
that in just so we could discuss it.
Okay.
It's up for grabs.
Up for grabs. So what are your thoughts, folks? Do you want this to come back to us?
Did you grab a second first?
No, I didn't.
Okay, let's do that.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wells is seconded. Go ahead.
Discuss away.
So we have actually, 2 lots that are developed and 3 that are undeveloped. Actually, looking at the maps themselves, the pond that's in the middle of everything. Oh, where did it go? The pond that's there, the significant wetlands. I'm just thinking maybe we should err on the side of caution and ask them to come back. The Sheffield have significant wetlands. The back portion of the main lot, even though it probably won't get developed, has a pond. That was my consideration in putting that statement in, but
So
it's up to
let me
the rest of
throw
the
out
rest.
an alternate idea. If we've got areas that if developments in the URA and or wetlands is going to see it anyway, and what we could do is leave it to staff to decide following once with the applications come in, whether our staff, whether they believe the commission could see it, because they can elevate it if they want. So that would be the alternate, which is our staff can look at it and say, hey, this one's really hairy. Or wetlands could decide that as well. I mean, they can refer something to us if they want to, as far as I know, but our staff can do it as well. So really the commission's call. We can elevate this, or we can see what wetlands does with the wetlands and what the concerns are.
I'm comfortable with that.
Folks, anybody else?
Works for me.
Mary?
Yeah, just a quick question. Do we need to put anywhere in the decision letter the fact that we're using the 1976?
Yeah, you had
regs?
said you wanted to put that wording in, and that would be the second change I would make to the motion, is that we, your sentence about relying on, yeah. So first of all, let's agree on this one. Okay, so the motion is amended. First is that staff, P&Z staff, to determine if future development of any of these lots is to be referred, is a sensitivity sufficient to have
I
it
think
referred.
the text I have is applicant shall return to P&Z staff for site review consideration prior to development or redevelopment of any lot. That
Right.
way, staff can make that determination.
Okay,
if you would,
perfect.
and whether
Okay.
it comes back or not.
Perfect. Okay. All right, now we go to Mary's point about the 70s, and we're going to incorporate that. Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I wish I had a good sentence to give you, Nick. To the extent that the lot lines as confirmed have been represented as in existence in 1976, the regulations at such time would be applied in our determination that the lots are conforming.
Tracy, does
Or
that
not,
work for you
not
guys?
not non-conforming? Help, Tracy.
Mary, would that be you're referencing a point that actually the subdivision as we're talking about it tonight, that recorded map actually is governed by the 1976 regulations? Is that the intent of this?
It isn't that the point, because otherwise if it applies today, yeah, if it applies
Okay.
today, it would be stricter and we'd have non-conformities.
Right, you're confirming that the lots
Were created then.
were created then
Therefore,
between
she's
19
right.
by
Or-
deed via 1973 to 1976.
Yeah. Yep.
That's when they were created, and
The regulations at that time would apply to their
Would have,
development.
would have applied and allowed such creation.
But that's not true of wetlands, as I
it would-
remember, right?
any development that happens on those lots now would need to follow today's wetlands regulations.
That's what I remembered.
Right.
So wetlands is
And they're
excluded.
gonna have to follow today's building codes and fire codes.
So
and that
wetlands,
stuff.
so this is one of the reasons that's valuable. Wetlands, so wetlands gets to do what wetlands does today, whereas we don't. So, and, okay, so we're good with that wording. So we have those two amendments, and we got the playhouse in. So we did the playhouse. All right, okay. And we got a second from Mr. Wells.
We have a quick question before we move on.
Okay.
The amendment, it's the existing subdivision regulations or existing building zone regulations? I want to make sure I've got the right one.
Building zone, the zoning regulations.
Building zone. I was
Building
thinking
zone.
For
building zone, yeah.
development, it's the new, it's
That's
the
fine.
old zoning regulations.
Because it wasn't a sub or resub then either.
So it's the existing building zone regulations in effect of 1976.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, the 1976 BZR. Yep.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. All right. So Mr. Wells, second again as amended.
Second.
Okie dokie. Mr. Wells has seconded. Ms. Jenkins, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe,
Aye.
Mr. Wells,
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0, and we go to the discussion items. And now
Thank
we
you.
can let
I
Mr.
will
DeAndrea in.
I will see you later.
Okay. All right, Mr. DeAndrea, you can raise your hand now, because I'm not seeing him now. There he is. All right. Okay, Mr. DeAndrea, our first discussion item, 9A, application for a pre-application review pursuant to section 613 through 617, the Town of Greenwich Building Zone regulations for a proposed modification of the drive at 10 Riverside Avenue, which is Hill House, and it is described as adding 6 new parking spaces in this proposal on a 3.5748 acre property in the coastal overlay and PHDE zones. Mr. DeAndrea, we can jump right in if that's okay with you and ask you a couple of questions.
If you would like to ask me questions, that's fine. I was considering whether or not I wanted to speak since you didn't let me speak before.
Well, because you were on the wrong application, Mr.
But I realized that would be a bad move.
Yeah. So the first question that I had for you is that the way you wrote this, I think you're meaning to add 6 new spaces, but the
Correct.
way you wrote, you have the increased width of the pavement will accommodate 6 new parking spaces by orienting them in diagonal pattern and
Right.
eliminate the 5 parallel. So
Correct.
my arithmetic was you ended up with a net increase of only one parking space, and I don't think that's what you intend, right?
Not really. So here's the way I would present it.
Okay, how
What-
would you present it?
Okay. In 2019, Hill House completed a renovation that the commission approved.
Yep.
At that time, you approved 62 housing units.
Mhm.
And one of those units, just for the record, was for on-site superintendent. Doesn't really matter, it's just that there were 62 total. And at that time, there were 25 regular spaces and 3 handicap as part of the approval, as shown on the improvement locations survey that we submitted back on February of 2019. That ratio of parking spaces to units was 1 space per 2.5 units. And since 2019, I must say, Hill House found a way to squeeze in 3 more spaces, bringing the total on site to 28 regular spaces and 3 handicap. You did not review that aspect of it, but that ratio was reduced, if you will, to 1 space for 2.2 units. 5 of those spaces were aligned parallel to the south curb of the south driveway. No changes were made to the north side. Currently, those 5 parallel spaces, which are truly squeezed in there, are a challenge for the residents because they're on the sloped driveway. So Hill House asked us to see if we could reconfigure the parking along the drive. And our proposal currently, as shown on the parking feasibility plan dated March 25th, is to realign the spaces somewhat in a diagonal fashion so that a car entering the site from Riverside Avenue would pull into the space. They're almost perpendicular, but they're nevertheless somewhat diagonal, as shown on the screen now.
Mhm.
And that would result in an increase in 6 spaces because in the area where we have 5 now parallel squeezed in, we will have 11 spaces in that same area.
Okay,
So
so
basically
when you,
for every 2, we have 2 spaces for every 1.
okay, so when you get a chance, when you resubmit, your narrative should make that clear.
Yes,
Okay, speak now, just one more question on your numbers. In your application, in your site plan application form, you are showing that you currently have 27 regular and 3 handicap.
I erred on the
That's right.
side of conservative because if you look closely down by the building on the north side of the south parking lot, one side of the last space isn't striped. So I counted it as a space, which
Okay.
is actually used.
All right, I think that as long as that's very clear. Now, you weren't at the briefing yesterday, so now I'm gonna turn you over to Mr. McRae.
Okay.
Mr.
I'm braced, I'm ready. Hit me.
Hold on to your hat, Mr. DeAndrea. Okay, Tracy, can you bring up the parking plan? You just had it on screen. Mr. DeAndrea, so one of the successful things about Hill House, I think, actually, is it really fits into the neighborhood. It's kind of tucked away. That there is a significant buffer between the highway and the site itself. It seems to me it's one of those natural 1956 leftovers where you just let Mother Nature grow trees, and it really works really, really well. Some of it is actually now on the property, and it's very clear to see actually how much you've taken out to get the spaces in.
Right.
My concern is that we have no control over the state of Connecticut and the DOT in terms of actually cutting trees. And to me, every once in a while, they do kind of do a clear cut, and we're like, what the heck happened there?
Right.
My thought would be, is there any way to reconfigure these spaces away from the property line to add some screening, some vegetation or something that actually is in control of Hill House?
Right.
So if the state, sharpens the saws and gets rid of everything that's out there for some god awful reason, at least
Okay.
we have something left over.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I have a
And to-
response,
Okay,
if I
but
may.
before you respond, Mr. DeAndrea, the zoning regulations, as you know, don't accept landscaping on someone else's property, trees on someone else's property, as being a reason to not provide it on yours. Nick said it nicer. But the requirement is for your property,
Yes.
not for, I don't have to because someone else has trees, which is really what Nick said at the briefing.
That's correct.
Okay,
And
go
Mr.
ahead.
DeAndrea, Mr. DeAndrea, before you jump into it, I just one more thing to address. They're angled spaces, and I'm just if I was actually parking there, would I actually have to back out and go to the bottom of the hill, turn around, and go back out again? Or do you
that
think
is the plan, yes. Considering the advancing age of the unit owners and residents, we discussed that on numerous occasions on how best to serve. So the answer to the first question is placing or preserving the limited amount of landscaping on the south border of the property proves to be something that we are asking the right to sacrifice. It's a marginal benefit right now, considering the width of the landscape area or plantable area on the state property, that I understand that they tend to clear cut along the highway, but they haven't done so up top. It may be possible to negotiate a planting easement, which would benefit everybody for sound, etc. I don't know that that's been approached. We haven't discussed it fully. The second part of the question is, should they pull in? I discussed whether or not they either come down to the bottom of the hill, then drive back up the hill to park. And I just felt, after much discussion with them, that the angle of the door closing is better in this location. So you come in, you park, you can see what's available. You take the space as you see it. And then when you leave in the morning or later on in the day, you drive down to the wide open area, which I did again today just to prove it to myself, very easily, to make one smooth circle in that area. So that was the way we designed it. To move the parking away or maintain the existing curb pushes us into the landscape area around the building. When I had prepared other sketches of options for consideration, it didn't seem right to cut into the hillside toward the building and eliminate that buffer, against the building. So this is the proposal we decided is appropriate for this site at this time, to alleviate some of the growing pains, if I may, for the residents. We do manage to utilize the same area, gain 6 valuable spaces. The way the site is configured, as you drive by now, you do see a line, you can see, if you look, a line of 5 cars at times parked parallel. They are just difficult to maneuver into and out of on the slope. The perpendicular or almost perpendicular spaces are more accommodating. And we'd like, to have that support from the commission.
Okay, I think if anything on that, Mr. DeAndrea, understanding the issues that the applicant has, if you can consider some kind of a screening thing, that'd be great. If anything, the small triangular area right at the throat of the curb cut.
Right, so at the north end, on the upper end of the frame here, on the east side of the driveway, I did show it as striping. It could be more, what do you call it? Enthusiastic, exuberant planting plan, aggressive planting plan. Yes, that island can be expanded. We round off the triangle. Part of it would still be a little bit of paint, but otherwise that's a good spot for a ground cover. Anybody leaving the site, that vegetation would not impede the sight lines, which are straight in both directions.
Right, because right now the sign for the development is there. There's a nice evergreen. So I think what it does is even that little small round area does a lot or adds a lot to what happens in this parking lot.
I agree, and we did discuss it, and it can be done.
Great.
Okay, question, no, just going a little further. To Nick's argument, your sentence in your narrative, construction of the parking will require removal of several distressed trees and ground cover vegetation. The effect of that change is not significant when compared to the dense growth on the slope topography along I-95. I would not have that second sentence, because what someone else has on their property is not pertinent to your application. And instead, where you're going now and how you're solving it, which is we propose to add landscaping elsewhere on the site that cannot be added, given the need for the parking. So to look for opportunities as you
Right.
just did on the triangle and elsewhere, and I wouldn't go for ground cover, I would go for trees, because you mentioned the removal of distressed trees to
Right.
get us trees. What you're not addressing and is of a concern is the noise attenuation. And I don't know how big an issue that is at Hill House now. And what would happen. I mean, the thing we don't know is, I can tell you, Mr. DeAndrea, when, and the commission's heard this ad nauseum, every time the DPW does work or the town does work to remove vegetation around I-95, we all hear it. And it's interesting that Nick made the comment. He and I both live near I-95. We are both very conscious of what vegetation removal does to sound attenuation. So any opportunity you could find
Right.
to
So while we were,
enhance, and the sound attenuation, I don't know how you do that, because I just see it as difficult given where you're putting the parking. Go ahead, Mr.
Yes.
DeAndrea.
what I was going to say is that while we were investigating other options, again, placing the parking on the north side of the driveway, we ran into the landscape committee. So they're aware of it. I think if you put them, put the parking versus the what do you call it, the noise potential, I'll put that word in there. They would rather have the few extra parking spaces. It's that critical for them.
Well, yes, right. And one of the things I was asking Tracy, since Diane Fox is still on the board,
Yes,
that could be helpful, because Diane
Yes.
knows our perspective, and she
she's out of
knows-
town this week, but she
Well,
was,
but eventually you're going to
yeah.
come in with a final.
yes,
And
we
when
are.
she- yeah.
And she is part of the committee.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it would be helpful to have Diane's opinion, because she knows how much we're trying to get trees in as
Absolutely.
well, and she has the expertise to assist in where there could be other opportunities.
Yes. So we
Um,
will enhance that landscape aspect of it. We'll investigate the possibility of densifying it, even though it's not on our property. And we'll add more landscaping at the nose
Well, the part
at
that's- yeah.
Riverside.
I don't know how you do it. I mean, the state is just, they just go and remove trees. They wake up one day and they just decide they're going to remove
But-
trees.
But they're also not inclined to go all the way to the top of the hill because it's too far to walk.
Well,
I'm only joking. I don't want anybody to hear that.
no, I would not. I was like, I didn't hear that, Mr. DeAndrea. Okay, we can take we can just take the share down. I think we're good.
We know that. We're going to do our best. And the committee has been investigating where they can enhance with
Okay.
more mature trees. There's some down here at the southwest corner near the bus parking. And we'll fully investigate that.
Okay,
But the
so just,
parking is critical.
I got it. And also to Nick's question about make sure it's maneuverable, because
It is definitely
yeah.
maneuverable.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on the Hill House application? Please raise your virtual hand. Hill House application, please raise your virtual hand if you wish to speak. Okay, nobody's interested except for Mr. DeAndrea, who's now here. Okay, you're off, Mr. DeAndrea. We'll see you when you come back.
Thank you very much. We'll be back soon.
Thank you. Are we able to, I forgot to check this, but are we able to even waive the landscaping before he leaves? Are we being able to waive the landscaping completely given? Or is he gonna need a variance?
We'll have to look at,
I don't think there's
because it's
language
an
that allows
existing
us.
site. It's an existing parking lot. And he's not adding 10 spaces.
Okay,
I think it's a matter of, if we waive, we have to have a good reason for it. And I think
And
actually
he's gotta remove
the 10
trees.
spaces is the requirement.
oh, before you go, Mr. DeAndrea, when you come back, we're gonna ask you how many trees you're removing, okay? The fact that you don't think they're, I know you're saying they're not in good shape, but we're still gonna wanna know how many you're taking out.
They There's a small decorative clump tree, a lot
No,
of
you don't have
trees
to
that
tell
just-
us now. We just have to give you the.
I will,
Okay.
I will itemize.
Right.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank-
All right, now we go to the next one. How did we did a little longer than we should on that. Okay, so our next one is Erin Hill. Who's doing that one? Oh, no,
It may be Miss Hill.
it is Miss Hill.
Yeah.
No, it's Michael Finkbeiner, it seems like.
And Mr. Finkbeiner, right? Maybe.
Oh, that's right. All right. All right. Okay, they're both coming in. Erin Hill for a pre-application review to convert a single-family dwelling to a two-family on an undersized lot, which is 0.143 acre parcel in the R6, which is at 23 Pemberwick Road. And hello, Ms. Hill. Hello again, Mr. Finkbeiner.
Good evening.
Can you guys throw up that plan that where we were looking at the parking?
Yes, could I have a share?
Um,
Or do you want to?
I'm
I'm
whatever
prepared.
they want, whatever.
All right, I
Stephanie-
have a share on the topographic issues. We very much appreciated your suggestion on the parking. It might be most convenient for you to put up the plan that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we just want to make a couple of suggestions to you and then let you go on your way. That's the goal of the
And
pre-apps.
the architect is also trying to get into the meeting.
Get him? Dipti Shah.
Yep.
All right, we got everybody. Mr. Shah, okay. All righty. Did you are you letting Mr. Finkbeiner? Somebody's sharing. Okay. The one with the parking. Just like. Keep going.
Yes. That's it.
Okay. All righty. So we had two questions and you can get to the second one later, which is the grade change between the rear and the end of the staircase.
Yes.
Okay. Just let's run some clarifications. Existing is a 3-bedroom and the third bedroom is in the back of the existing building and you're demolishing that to do the addition, correct?
I think the architect can speak to
Mr.
that,
Shah?
but it's
Yeah,
Ms. Shaw.
Good evening,
Oh, Ms. Shah.
Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm Dipti Shah,
Hi, Dipti.
architect for 23 Pemberwick. What we are doing is that there is an existing bedroom and a kitchen which is being remodeled. And that stays, and those 2 rooms are being converted to 2 bedrooms. We're adding an extra bedroom on the second floor.
Got it. Oh, so all we wanted to know is you show it as existing 3 bedrooms going to 4 in total? And I just
Yes.
wanted to make sure that was accurate. Okay. And then someone asked you about wanted to know what the grade change is for that staircase you have in the back?
Yes, I can share a topographic map, which is relevant.
Before you go to the topographic map, let's let Nick and you do the parking then.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Finkbeiner, I guess you heard what we were talking about yesterday. It's actually just the maneuvering issues, getting out of the garage and getting into those other spaces. And I think the plan was kind of self-evident in terms of actually just the geometry of the site and how you have to kind of figure out how to get out. I would say you have an existing retaining wall that may impinge garage space 4. Garage space 3 is probably conflicted with space number 2. So I think actually taking a look at that and see what you could do actually to kind of shift this so it's convenient to park on this site. We've had experience where, here it is, you've done the development, it's all set. It's so difficult to park on your own site that people park in the street. And in this case, Pemberwick Road and the surrounding neighborhood is just chock full of cars. Half the street on Pemberwick you can't park on anyway. So we want to avoid any additional load on the neighborhood.
Yes, I discussed your suggestion with both the owner and the architect. We very much appreciate the suggestion that we could slide the parallel spaces closer to the street and screen them, we were attempting to avoid the
in the
regulation
front
on
yard.
front
Yeah.
yard parking in R6.
Right.
So another question that came up is whether we need to go for a variance or whether your special permit approval will incorporate.
It incorporates, we can allow you to park in the front yard, given the fact that you have sufficient screening, if that's what you're asking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I might also ask at the same time if we could go to a 2-foot setback for parking from the property line, or do you want to maintain a more generous setback for parking?
Tracy? Bianca? I don't.
Asking for a variance to a setback would require a PZBA.
I'm trying to figure out how you could do it.
A setback for
what's-
parking or a setback for
Just
structure?
for the parking. I don't think, because, you know, at worst case, if you're landscaping it, worst case, you could even do pavers. I mean, grasscrete. I don't.
Mr.
Definitely
Finkbeiner, can I understand, you want to move those two spaces closer to
Forward.
the adjacent property or towards the front?
Towards the
the
front.
frontage?
First to the front, but there would be more maneuver space if we could park slightly closer to the property line. And I was working under the assumption that you require a 2-foot space or at least enough room to open a car door against a property line fence.
Yeah, and or screening. I think one of
We
the
don't
successful parts about this,
we don't require a set number of feet. I can't think of a place. Am I forgetting something?
we're usually talk about actually 2 feet for planting adjacent to a parking
For
lot.
planting, but
Right, but not doors,
um,
because
not
it-
doors.
Mr. Finkbeiner, I think one of the successful things about this property, as I see it from the street, is that you've got really nice mature landscaping, a stone wall.
Mhm.
The design as it's being presented actually doesn't alter the street facade.
Exactly.
I would say that actually, rather than moving it closer towards that chain link fence in the next door neighbor, sliding it up towards the street a little bit may just resolve your issues with the garage, which are
Yeah.
the ones that are actually the biggest issues.
Yes.
Okay,
I would
now,
keep it there and keep it landscaped.
right now, I
personally.
think actually I'm sure that you're aware, actually, previous applications were parking in the front yard. It's parking in the front yard, like in front of the building. In this case, actually, I perceive this as slightly different. Even though it would be in front of the front facade of the building, front yard, so on and so forth. It's adjacent to the building, not in front of the building. So there might be some latitude there, possibly, because of that configuration. So,
That would help tremendously. I think sliding the parking towards the street would solve the issue of the turnaround.
right now, I think actually prove my point. The property to the south actually has parking in the front yard, no curb cut. It's just, they just pull off. That's the thing we're really trying to avoid. It's not very, a couple of houses down towards the south, really nothing much up toward the north. So actually I think you're actually moving the spaces around a little bit more towards the street frontage would be probably your best bet and much more successful for the whole site.
But that being said, it looks like you have a quite lovely tree by the mailbox in the front there.
Exactly,
where-
but I don't think they get that far where that would be
So
compromised.
don't compromise the tree when you come forward. Leave space. Whose vegetable garden is that? No, that's a vegetable garden that's on your property.
No, that's on the other side. That's
It's on the other side.
opposite side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't compromise that tree when you move forward the parking. We would not require you, even though we require screening of parking in the front yard, we would not want you to lose that tree. And hey, you can leave space for the composters. Yeah, so that's what we would ask you to do is protect that tree, which you're not, we're not seeing a landscape plan at this point. I assume you're protecting the other tree on the sidewalk tree.
Yes.
And you could probably replant. You could probably put alongside the property line the existing those arborvitaes or something that are
Yes.
screening. Yeah, so you could maybe move them to the side of the property. I would try to leave some landscaping on the side and not scooch closer.
Good.
If you do what Nick is suggesting and move the parking up, you should be able to have maneuverability for the garage, because you don't need what? Maybe you only need 6 or 7 feet, right?
Yes, it's really a question
Yeah.
of providing a full back out space for both
Yeah.
3 and 4.
Mhm.
There may be a need to rebuild the brick retaining wall that would be adjacent to the parking lot at the rear. That will come into play with regard to the drainage design, and this preliminary review has allowed us to postpone the soil investigation and drainage
Okay.
design, which is going to be quite expensive and challenging. So we wanted to get your blessing on the conceptual development of vertical addition here, plus a rear garage added.
Mr. Finkbeiner, which wall's failing? The one at the driveway?
No, they're in the back.
No,
the-
I
farther
didn't say failing. There's a 4-foot brick wall adjacent to the proposed back out space that
Okay, I got it.
by its angle slightly
Got
impinges.
it.
With regard to drainage engineering, it may be necessary to create more space where that wall is and to do some reconfiguration, which would
Okay.
again give better maneuverability for
I think
turning around.
I think what Mr. McRae I'm putting words in your mouth, Nick, what he may have
Always.
been asking as well, always, is that stone wall's really pretty along the front, and sure would be nice to keep it.
Yeah.
I mean,
The front stone wall is not in question. We're
yeah,
we're
it's very
talking
pretty.
about
Okay,
the condition of the rear yard, which is extremely steep.
yeah,
Um,
and I
and-
can't quite make that out.
Okay, well, it's
What's your
because
grade?
it's not on this.
Okay, yeah, I can see, and they have the stairs now. It looks like the stairs are there now.
Yes.
Okay, question for you then. One more thing. When you come back with the final, and this is easy data for you to get, one of the things on which our decision is dependent, how many, this is, I forget it, 6,229 or something like that, this lot? Whatever, this is an undersized lot. How many?
It's
50. Yeah. how many-
6250.
I was close. 60, so of this, so how many on this street, in this vicinity to 23 Pemberwick, how many of the lots are undersized and currently 2 families? So are you moving consistently with the neighborhood? We're going to want to make a finding on that application. So on the application for that, so if you can give us the data, so that says
Certainly.
there are
I'm
10 undersized lots and they're all 2 family or something.
right. I in 1999 became the 4th owner of the J.A. Kirby Company, which created this subdivision. And this is a very consistent lot size throughout the entire neighborhood.
Just give us the numbers. That's all we want for the record.
All right. How far out would you like to reach?
Staff will talk to you about it, but I think as long as, when you're working on it, just ask them. We're just looking for neighborhood consistency. And I think you just said the Kirby subdivision, how you're going to say to us, the average lot in the Kirby subdivision is so many square feet. And of those, more than half are 2 family.
Yes, I have that data.
Okay. Yeah,
Ready.
great. That's all we want, because we do have to make the finding when we do the special permit that it is consistent.
Yes.
Okay, Mary has a question for you.
Yes, when I saw the box checked for the ZBA, I assumed that there were increased nonconformity volume in the new structure, and that was why you would go for a variance. You're changing a 1-story into a 2-story, you're adding a garage. That assumes, of course, that there's a problem with the side yard, because again, you're extending it along the border with 25 Pemberwick. I guess I was making a lot of assumptions about why you would go to the ZBA,
Yeah.
but that was one of them.
We're not really clear why what variances you need is really what we're saying.
Yep.
Well, I asked Patrick LaRoe if
He does know
being
his
an
stuff.
undersized lot, there would need to be a variance to go to two-family, and he said that would be determined by your commission.
Right, that's
Not by
determined by
regulation.
us. It's not by variance. It is, the commission has the ability to approve on a special permit basis, as you know, an undersized lot to go to two-family. So, did you need another variance?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay, so we were trying to figure out where your existing nonconformity was and whether you were expanding the existing nonconformity. But if it is for the proposal of making an undersized property, but to Mary's question, it would be good when you're ready to submit that you show conformity with the existing property with the existing regulations.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Commission?
Nope.
Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? Nope. Okay, I think we tried to get you out of here as quick as possible, giving you some overall stuff, so you should be all set. Good luck with the project.
Thank you very
so
much.
much. And
Thank
I'd
you
just
so
like to
much.
say, as somebody who this is my very first meeting joining, I hope you can hear me, but this has been so professional, and the engagement, the interaction, I just have to say, as a Greenwich resident, I'm very proud to see how this process works. So thank you for
Well,
what you do, and thank
Ms.
you for your
Hill,
service.
come sometime when we're here till midnight. We get really punchy and we get really ridiculous. And when the meeting ends, we just get weird and giggly. So we'd ruin your whole image that we're good.
Not at all. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Have a
ma'am.
good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, we got one more to go, folks. All right. Okay. All right. I had asked Bianca to send everybody, well, before let me announce it first. Sherwood Farms is Mr. Hegney. Nick, you already have your hand up?
I'm getting in line.
You're funny. I thought you were going to be grumpy tonight.
Oh, I'm in a good mood. This is good, Gov.
Okay.
Maybe we should
Mr.
let Nick
Hegney-
speak first. Before
Okay. Oh,
Mr.
yeah, we're
Hegney.
gonna.
No,
Yes.
no. Mr. Hegney,
No,
let
no,
Mr.
Mr.
Hegney
Hegney
rip to-
doesn't like that. Hold on. Mr. Hegney also likes to come into the meeting first, and then I announce this application. Okay. Our discussion item is Sherwood Farm LLC for a pre-application review for a proposed rebuilding of a previously fire damaged cottage to convert it to storage and office space on a 3.24 acre parcel located at 10 Sherwood in the RA2 zone. Before Mr. Hegney starts, I assume he is aware that the commission has received the decision letter granted on this property in 2019. So we may refer to it. Okay, Nick has his hand up and he's up first as soon as you take a breath, Mr. Hegney.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, Mr. McRae.
Do you have a presentation?
I do.
Why don't you go ahead and do follow through on that first?
I was just gonna say, as the chair indicated, that this was approved as a nursery in 2019, and this building would be used in conjunction with that. The cottage that was there, which was built in 1930 and had been used by a family member, was damaged by fire a couple of years ago. Rather than rebuilding it as a dwelling, they want to use it as an office and storage building for the nursery business. And all we're proposing in terms of new construction is a roof over an existing deck. And then all the rest of the work would be interior, except for, if you looked at the material we sent over, the fire damage on the west side of the building. And there's no change in the operation of the nursery as a result of this. So that's the deck which we would propose to put a roof over. And then as you proceed through the rest of the applications, you see some of the fire damage on the right side of the picture, and that's where it came out of the building on the would be the west side.
What's the use going to be in the covered deck area?
It's going to be for storage of material that doesn't need to be heated, but needs to be protected from weather, such as like burlap that they sell as part of their wholesale business.
Okay,
And that is my presentation.
Nick.
Okay, so long history with this piece of property. What I'm looking for, Mr. Hegney, is to get a complete understanding of what's going on the site as of today.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you what I think is going on, but I don't really know for sure because that's changed a couple of different times. And I want to make sure that actually what I'm looking at encompasses actually what we've approved in the past. And that we're going not actually doing something a little bit different or going beyond what we thought what the approval was the first time. As an example,
yes,
the plan in front of me shows a 3-bedroom cottage. Okay, so what I'm looking for is, yes, right now there's a 3-bedroom cottage there and an existing deck. I think it's actually that kind of detail. What's in the other buildings? What are they used for? This clear out the site in terms of actually you have storage of materials. I believe that we had talked about storage bins at one time, a long time ago, so on and so forth. Well, I really kind of want to know what's going on.
22 decision.
Yeah.
So this all came up as part of the 2022 decision, where we were looking to move the access way to the site so that it was over where you actually could see cars coming when you pulled out rather than the other driveway, which you could not. And to confirm the location of the exterior storage bins that are used as part of the nursery.
Right.
So that was all in 22.
Right, and here we are,
and I don't have the
2026. So
yeah, and I don't have the 22 letter B. If we can find it, I don't have that one. But Mr. Hegney, the thing that I got stuck on, Nick, I think this is where you're going. So I'm not putting words in your mouth. In 19, we approved a specialized nursery for the propagation and sale of wetland plantings.
Yeah.
But it's not clear to me, and I think Nick this is what you were asking, what else is going on site?
Going on the site. That's the question.
Do you have other commercial nursery landscaping activities that are different from this specialized nursery because we got into this whole thing about the wetland plantings at the time and how wonderful that was. Well, then someone says not too long ago, before I even knew you had this application, that they bought their firewood at your place. Well, not your place, but and that there's a sale of firewood there. And I said, oh, well, must be a different place. So the question was, what's the full scope of what's going on that you need this expansion of space rather than keep it residential? It's kind of what Nick said, only I said it differently, right, Nick?
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay.
I'm not familiar with the sale of firewood there. What we presented to you back in 2019 and again in 2022 is that this is specialized wetland planting and material soils which are very specific and specialized, need to be to make a rain garden actually work, are part of the business. And that is the business that my client conducts on the site.
As I remember, this does not allow retail. It's only the wetlands plantings are sold only to commercial people. If the commission wanted to go see this, we would need a site walk because we can't just stroll out there. And maybe that would address what our question is how is this operating now? Because of the concern about the level of intrusion in a residential zone.
Sure.
And what's going, so our question would be, Nick, did you have in mind that there were other activities? The only thing I remember.
Well, I think it's not other activities. I'm just concerned that actually that, yes, we have the extent of an approval from 2022, 2019. I just want to make sure we're still in the same ballpark with all of this. As an example, I'm looking at slide number 7 of the presentation. It's the front facade of the subject building with planting materials that look like they would be for sale, planted in the lawn in the front of this building between.
We said they could do that.
Okay.
We said,
There. Oh, perfect. So
we said that they were going to plant, where the heck is this? In the
I thought it was all in the
2019
back.
No,
behind
hold
the
on a
buildings.
sec. No, hold on a second. I saw this in the approval letter. I just have to find it. It says,
There's an area on the plan that was approved that shows where plantings can temporarily be located. I think that's what you're referring to.
there's a sentence, I'm going to find it in this letter, that says they're going to have a display area for the wetlands plants, whereas the applicant has indicated that a sample wetland plant shall be planted as a display near the southerly triangular area of the property to provide for a reduction in inventory and allow customers to choose from the display prior to delivery. Now, where is that triangular area? Because I don't remember.
Zoom out.
That's to the
lower right-hand
bottom
corner.
right.
Okay, well, that's not where apparently it is then.
Right. So I'm seeing
You're
seeing
right, Nick.
storage
Okay.
in the front of the building. And that's getting back to what I had talked about before.
Yep.
What's going on out there? And I want to know what is going on out there today. I've got stuff planted here. I've got stuff planted here. This is a barn. I got 10 people living over here. Whatever it is, I want to know what's going on because we keep seeing this over and over again over the course of time. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
And it has, whereas the stock shall be held on site no more than a week. I don't know how we know if that's what's going on. But so it's just, is the commercial use staying within the scope originally approved? And if so, why the need for the expansion now? Because we had envisioned it as something very small.
I would describe this as not large. This isn't Shemin's on King Street by any means, or whatever it's called now, where tractor trailers are coming in daily to bring
but
in
they're not
plant
before
material.
us. We have you to torture, so we're just, you're the one.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So that was the main question we had is, if you're expanding the commercial use, the non-conforming use on a residential property, we really need to understand why you're doing that.
Yeah, this is so that, as Bianca indicated, that there would be a office dedicated to the operation rather than my client operating it in his house.
Okay.
And it does not expand what the business is. It's just to keep some material from getting weathered and have an office. That's really all that's going on here.
Those aren't the droids you're looking for, boy, Mr. Hegney. Okay. All right. Well, that is, I don't know how to get our arms around it, but just looking for reassurance that it is not encroaching more on the residential use. Anybody else?
Right. Of course, our main neighbor next door is the Merritt Parkway.
We got that. And I remember, I'm looking at the letter, I remembered that you had a lot of materials that you had to remove, that you had put along the Merritt Parkway. But even though that may be your nearest neighbor, people live up there.
Of course.
And they live.
We want to maintain good relationships with our neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nick still has his hand up.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, I just wanted to make sure we hadn't missed anything.
I'm all good.
All right, you're all good.
I will speak with my client, and when we submit our final application, we'll address all this with the commission.
nonconformities and whether or not you're expanding. You know how we feel about that. Mary's looking at you.
I have experienced that previously, yes.
All right, because you just said it wasn't a baby elephant growing up, so it's all right. So, well, I can't think of anything else. I think we're just looking for the use being consistent.
Okay.
Anybody? Nope. Okay. Anybody from the public? There's nobody left except one of the Ferranos is here, but does anybody from the
We'll speak
public wish
later.
to speak? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? No. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hegney.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And here he is. Okay. And now we have a decision to make. And if we don't have to make it because it's a public hearing item, but if people are ready, we could make the decision on 84 Cognywog.
I think we make it.
I
Okay.
agree.
All righty. Mr. Secretary, let him roll.
Okay, give me a second. I'm trying to get my notes together here. This is going to be kind of short and sweet, and I have a question after we move a little bit here. It's 84 Cognywog Road, zoning map amendment, PLPZ 2025 395. Applicant seeking a zoning map amendment to rezone 1.998 acre property from RA2 to the R12 zone. The commission finds that it's keeping within the POCD question mark. Therefore, motion to approve the zoning map amendment to rezone 1.9 acres from RA2 to the R12 zone.
Do I have a second for that motion? I need a second. Any second.
Seconding does not apply assent
No,
or dissent.
no, it
No, it
Just
doesn't.
confirming
No,
that.
you
So I will
just have to-
second it to move
right.
the ball along.
Seconding is a neutral action.
Yeah. Mr. Yeski, how do you vote?
Well, hold on a
Nay.
second.
Nay.
Wait, hold on a second. The finding of POCD, having been part and parcel of the POCD.
Okay, wait, so
I'm
we're
going
not going
through
to
it.
vote. We're going to have
Not
a
yet. Yeah, we're gonna have a
discussion.
discussion. I'm going through the POCD, and I could not find personally anything in the POCD that would support this type of a zoning map amendment. And I'm not too sure if anybody would, staff,
No.
other members would actually find
So-
anything or tell me anything.
No, that all that we would, and what the applicant leaned on is whether or not this is consistent with guiding principle number 1, which is the preservation of community character.
Okay, I went in detailed on that.
Yeah, I
And
bet you did.
It's community character. I don't think it's a rezoning. I'm moving a zoning line around. It's not about a physical characteristic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that actually guiding principle 1 and actually all the preservation was the physical characteristics of the town.
Is this, Nick, disposition as opposed to predisposition?
Yes, he's allowed to opine at this point that he is
Right.
unable to find supporting evidence in the POCD. The applicant argued, and the finding would basically be the applicant's position was that this property, because of fronting on Cognywog, looked like it fit with the R12 and was thus consistent with the neighborhood and the character of the neighborhood. That was their position.
And that would
That-
look like in a physical condition standing on
Mhm.
Cognywog, or would this have been a physical description based on a two-dimensional map?
Their point was only that it would, Nick, Arne, if you want to jump in, go ahead.
Well, just on the POCD, I mean, I went through it and commented on it. I don't think it's consistent with objective 4, sustain and improve our natural environment and landscape. So it's inconsistent with that. I also think it's inconsistent with develop housing opportunities for the future, which are focused on affordable housing, workforce housing, and housing for seniors. So I would say it's inconsistent with the POCD in terms of 2 of the objectives.
Yeah, and I thought that I was uncomfortable. I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but I was uncomfortable with, and you heard it because I kind of snapped, but I was uncomfortable with how the applicant characterized it as a great thing for more housing, for future housing opportunity, to do this lot line revision and to allow for the potential for more density. And then when we touched on it, said, oh, but we've withdrawn the subdivision.
Elvin, yeah.
And I felt really uncomfortable with how that works procedurally. And I tensed up because
Yeah, but if you
you're-
can get it both ways, you want it both ways.
okay, but
You know?
if you're arguing that you're enabling density by rezoning, then you got to let us say we're not sure that density is appropriate for this area, if that's your argument. So, yeah, I mean, their POCD argument was that this is in support of, that this supports the maintenance of community character, and their argument was that DPW had found this to have the characteristics of an R12 zone and had therefore could be inferred to have put in sewer for that reason, partially because it was consistent. And you guys tell me if you think I'm missing.
No, I don't think there was anything compelling about the argument.
But that was what they said. And that would be their argument with the consistency with the first.
No, we heard it. I know. I agree.
Yeah, okay, I captured it right. Okay. So Nick has some doubts that he's expressed, and I've given you what I
Yes.
think. Yeah. So
So let's do a vote. and Nick
Mr.
can vote.
Yeski. Yeah, Mr. Yeski.
He's already voted.
I already voted nay.
Okay, Mr. Lowe,
Nay.
Mr. Wells,
Nay.
Mr. McRae.
Nay.
Albin is also nay. Okay, we could have done it that way too.
Yeah, it would have helped.
Yeah.
But I think it's a clarification. Anytime we talk about any kind of amendment to the BZR or the map, so on and
The
so
maps.
forth, the backup, why are we doing it? Why is this a good thing for the town?
Mhm.
Kind of looking at it's like, is this the good thing for the town according to the POCD, which we all slaved over? So it is what it
We're
is.
gonna make another motion, so hold on. Tracy, do you have your hand up?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. We know how to do it.
Just checking, just getting.
All right.
you know, it's the end of the
I
meeting,
what I
making sure.
forget, what I forget to do is to call on the public, but they all know that.
No, this is
Okay.
closed. You know, the public's closed.
Closed and.
No, but I
for the record,
forget.
No,
the-
no,
the
no. She's
motion
just
to-
making a general comment.
The
I mean-
motion to approve did not carry.
The motion
Just
to
wanna make-
approve did not carry. It failed 5-0. Okay, so now we're gonna try a motion to deny, Mr. McRae.
Okay, so same detailed information, therefore a motion to deny the zoning map amendment to rezone 1.998 acres property from RA2 to the R12 zone.
Based on the inconsistency on the commission finding that this application is inconsistent with guiding principle 4 of the POCD, which is to sustain and improve our natural environment and landscape, which Mr. Wells has emphasized several times, that it also does not appear to be consistent with guiding principle 1, preserve our community character and sense of place, in the sense that this lot has had a longstanding configuration as a large lot, either an RA1 or an RA2, and that it is most of its mass, 2/3 of its size is in the 2-acre zone. It is predominantly in the 2-acre zone, and that is the character of the development character of the neighborhood, the comprehensive plan, as well as the cited goal for community character. And in addition, the commission notes that the nonconformity of the 2-acre lot is only 83 square feet, 87.
Yeah, 87.
87 square feet, and that this is inherently very nearly a conforming lot. I think the applicant made it clear that they don't want to return to zone it to rezone the R12 portion into RA2. So I would just say that we've not found it consistent. I'm not even sure, the applicant talked a lot about providing housing opportunity for the future. But I think as somebody pointed out during the meeting, I don't see that necessarily that even meets objective. It was you, Arn.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't necessarily even help with that. And so
Yep.
those would be our findings on the POCD and on the comprehensive plan of
I
development.
second that.
Okay, Mr. Yeski has seconded the motion as amended. All in favor? We could do a voice vote.
No,
Aye.
no, no,
Yes.
no, no, no.
Aye.
Vote,
Whatever.
vote,
No,
vote
gotta
like
go
All
one by
right,
one.
okay, Mr. Yeski, because we already hit it.
Aye,
Just
aye,
please,
aye.
please.
Mr. Lowe,
Aye.
Mr. McRae,
Aye.
Mr. Wells,
Aye.
and Albin is also aye. And we got the motion to deny is 5-0.
Sorry, was the second Yeski?
Yes.
Yeah, the
Mr.
second,
Yeski
the
was the
second
second.
was Yeski
Yeah,
to
so
the
it's
amended motion.
motion is Margarita, second is Dennis.
No, Nick made the motion. I amended
You
the
made
motion.
most of that motion.
I amended Nick's motion.
Okay, fine.
I'll
And,
say.
Arn voted, Arn seconded Nick's, and
The first
Yeski seconded
one.
my
Yep.
amendment. Yeah,
Okay,
Yep.
fine. We'll keep it as
You
Nick's
know.
motion.
yeah.
All
Next
right.
motion.
Keep it as Nick's motion because all I did was the POCD piece, which he
Got
was
it.
kind
I
of.
have no idea
Okay.
what's going on.
You know,
Wonderful.
you have a wonderful opportunity in front of you, Madam Chair, to end this meeting before the dinner break.
What are we gonna do about Brooks? The guy's gonna go, those PNC people, they're like always talking the big game about how hard they work, and they're out in 3 hours.
Yeah.
He's going to
I've also-
congratulate us.
I've
Just
also
wait,
noticed
Brooke.
when I
Just
attend,
wait.
they're shorter.
Yeah, Bianca moves y'all along.
All
too.
right. Bianco, I nominate her to be the staff reviewer on all of our applications.
All right,
She probably already is.
so Brooks, you
Obviously.
survived, right?
I
Okay.
survived almost 3 hours and I didn't even offer an opinion, which is going to be definitely a record. You
Yeah,
guys
well,
will probably find out.
you are
We'll note
always,
it down in our notes so that we have the date.
so some commissions don't allow alternates to speak. We have frowned on that policy for years. We think alternates are full members in everything but the vote. Only because you need the experience. You need to get all the nitty gritty and you need to be able to weigh in on all the little stuff that we think about. And to just sit there and then all of a sudden someone seats you. So long ago, we switched to having very active voice by alternates.
Well, I'll also say that I did have some thoughts here, but eventually they were all expressed by members, so there was no need for me to reiterate. So,
You mean like,
thank you.
oh my God, don't kill that tree.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
You'll hear that a lot from me, I think.
You'll hear that a lot from us because we're the ones who rewrote the landscape regulations. So that's why we were fighting for Mr. DeAndrea to do them, for example. And by the way, on the pre-app, we can discuss that now that it's behind us. We can talk about it outside of a public meeting. We can't talk about anything that's still open unless we're in a public meeting with the applicant, but you know all that because you read the Ziska book. So it's, there it is. So yeah, that was good. Okay, Bianca is going to keep coming to our meetings. Patrick's dad is apparently doing well.
Good. Good.
And your wife, Brooks, had to go to the hospital yesterday? Or she's
Yeah,
doing
I
well?
missed yesterday's meeting. I had to take my wife to the hospital and she's doing well. She's doing well and keep our fingers crossed for her going forward.
All right. And everybody else is healthy for now.
You talking to all of us or just?
Yeah.
No.
We don't have any.
The answer is no.
Yeah,
We don't
exactly.
have any executive sessions coming up.
You sure about that?
Not
No,
that
I'm
I'm aware of, at least as of right now.
As of right now, we don't. We have a lot of litigation happening. So
Yeah, but it has to, that process has to do its thing. So,
yeah.
Do we have a planning session?
Tracy's working on the 6110.
6110, yeah.
and Patrick's doing some work on the definition section right now. And I have looked at, and I'm in process of updating the priorities for this year, and was going to have a conversation with Margarita about that. So we haven't had that conversation yet and I'm actually going to a 4-hour session tomorrow, and then there's another session on Friday on 8002,
Yeah.
which is going to dictate how that planning session goes anyway.
So essential to us is that by July 1, we have to have approved the zoning regulations that 8002 asks us to do. And that may sound a long time away, but as you know,
No, it's not.
We move at a glacial pace on regulations, so we need to get cracking.
Yep, no, we know that. We know
No,
that.
I know you know that, but
Yeah.
I'm telling the commission, we're going to have to shift our priorities because we have to get the 8002 stuff done. And so we will, I would really love to get to the 6141.
Yeah.
But unless
Yep, no, and
someone,
we have a working draft of that.
Oh, good,
That Mary
awesome.
had worked on.
Yes, we have that, but
And that
nobody's had
has
a
been,
chance to
that
talk about
was
it.
sent to the law department, and I will touch base with the law department on that.
So Brooks, 6141 is our regulation on nonconformities. And we'd like to tighten it up a little bit. And it's hard to understand as currently written. And it's thorny zoning issues, so it'll be hard to get it revised. And the new state law requires us to do 8002. So we have to move that up. And there's so many things, Hegney joked tonight about the subdivision regulations. We haven't significantly amended them since 1977. We made one change in 2005. And that was for the 2-lot. And we haven't changed them since, and they are just woefully out of date. But again, that has to go to the RTM.
Well, I should also say that I worked in the security industry. I wasn't a lawyer, but I was very involved in drafting legal documents. And we transitioned to what they call plain English, which I think was tremendous. So you could actually understand stuff. And I'm a big believer that regulations should be understandable. So if there's any of that to be done, I'm happy to throw my hat in the ring. Even though I'm not a lawyer, I do speak English, and I'm a big advocate of understanding the laws that people need to follow. So I think that's a great idea.
What ends up happening is when they get edited, we end up with the run-on sentences and the run-on paragraphs and the wherefores and the whereases and the heretofore. And it is just, I agree with you. They should be in English. And ours are so badly written. The subdivision regulations aren't bad because they're short. They're not bad. They're just out of date. They talk about tracing cloth. But the zoning regulations in many instances, as you take a look at, go in the book and look at 6141. It's online. Just read 6141 and you'll think, what was the person drinking who wrote this?
Well, we were still talking
take a
about
look.
servants' quarters, so I mean, that's how old some of the regs are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no,
should-
we're
you should never
starting
use-
to address
you should-
that. Yeah.
You should never use whereas if you can avoid it.
Oh, well, we live on whereases, so it's we've been
Not
trying to
in the
wean-
regulations. The whereases are not in the
Yeah,
regulations.
we've been trying to wean ourselves to that.
They outline findings in the decision letters.
yeah.
They're not in the regulations.
Yeah, but there is, take a look at 6141. It's one of our most cumbersome regulations, and it's very, very hard. When you get a specific weird zoning application, it's hard to parse it out and know what to do with people. So
Speaking of 6110, the administrative amendments that we were working on are ready to come before you unless you
meeting.
wanted to hold those to make additional amendments. Or do you just want to go ahead and make the administrative
get
amendments
done
now?
what we can get done, because you never know what's going to
Okay.
happen.
Okay.
We've been stewing on 6110 for so long.
Okay.
And I think that the inclusionary, by the way, Mary, I'm trying to change the trust fee name. I don't think we should call it an inclusionary zoning fee, because I had 2 people go, oh, I hear you're doing inclusionary zoning. And I'm like, no, not
They're
yet.
assuming it's mandate, that's why, and it really.
They're confusing the fee with inclusionary zoning.
Okay, well.
So I think we need housing
We'll call it a
trust.
dog. We're gonna call it a
Housing trust-
collie. It's the collie regulation.
I've been calling it the housing trust funding fee.
Sounds good.
HTFF.
Works for
is
me.
what I called it in the email to Schellenberg and everybody. So yeah, I think we need to get it done. Tracy, just get done what we can get done. From what
Okay.
I can tell, the
I mean,
mandated,
I'll leave the parking regulations in it for now, knowing that we will change them going forward.
yes.
And I'll explain that to Westcog. Yep.
Yeah, because they're gonna think we're crazy.
No, I'll explain to them what we're doing. These are administrative changes that we need to
I
make
mean, you
now.
could
and
add
we
a
will keep-
sentence that says no, because remember, it's business zone, so it's not that hard to
Right.
do. You could add a sentence and just let us, and not talk to us about it, and just put in
Well, or
conformance
we can just say parking as
per state law.
required in 6155, and then we address 6155 later.
Perfect. Do that.
Okay.
Let's do that as per 6155, and then we just fix 155 as well as 695, 9, yes, whichever one that is. Yeah, and I think the mandated inclusionary zoning we should do as a totally separate regulation.
Yeah.
Because that would also go into residential zones.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Tracy, how you number that. But for that, I've just been thinking about stealing Westport's and Stanford's and just merging it and sending it to you guys.
Which is what I'm doing with the fee, pretty much.
Yeah. Right. And I'm pushing hard for built fee on building permits because it's a lot more money. Zoning permits, just not enough money.
True.
And they all have to go to the RTM. So, yeah, that's basically what the email said. You guys didn't all see it, but in order to get the trust to have a fee on building permits based on what the RTM did in 2023 with fire department review fee. Remember that, Brooks?
I do. I tried to get this included at the time, and
Yeah,
Cheryl
yeah.
Moss didn't want to work with me, so never got in there.
Well, Cheryl, I've already reached out to Cheryl and a couple of other people that I think will help us. But the answer from the moderator is this has to go to the RTM, and the fact that it wouldn't go into general funds, but would go earmarked directly for the trust would have to be RTM, but the BET has to know as well. And of course, DPW has to be on board because they do building permit fees. But that's not our show. That's just you, Mary.
I know.
I know. You and Patrick.
Me and Bill.
Okay, I did it. It's 7:02. We can go now.
No,
Nighty
you
night.
blew it by 2 minutes.
You did it on
Yeah.
purpose.
I know you did. I just bit my lip on that.
Didn't set a new record.
I couldn't set the new record.
Gee whiz.
Bye-bye, you guys.
New record
All right.
last meeting anyway, so we're good. All right.
Good night.
Night.